What's up? Oh, sorry, I had to try it. What's going on, everybody? This is Ron, and we are going to do a live stream tonight because of one particular reason. I bet nobody can guess why. George, do you know why we're doing it? Nothing happened today.
You call me, I show up. That's all I know.
That's right. Anna, was there any big thing going on today that you can think of?
Not really, no. Nothing important.
Boring Saturday, man.
Just a boring Saturday. We definitely didn't make history today doing something that we haven't done in almost a decade here in the U.S. So there's a lot going on in the world right now, but today we all got to celebrate something pretty amazing. We got to send American astronauts from American soil and American technology. But I think the most important part is that it was something that took the entire world to do. It was a South African company that created what went into space today, and the amazing people that were involved. So it was really, really incredible. So we're just going to talk about what happened today, the amazing launch, all the cool stuff going on in space, and just maybe dive into some other topics as well. So far, right now, we have a couple people with us. We have Ana Cristina Olvera, who's joining us from Mexico City, Mexico. And if you don't know about her, please go look her up. Ana, do you want to tell everybody the name of your show and the stuff you've done for NASA en Español and all that fun stuff before we get to George?
Sure. Well, I'm on different media outlets talking about science and space, and I've been collaborating with NASA doing the Spanish version of Space to Ground. If you've ever seen Space to Ground, that is this small capsule that they produce at the Johnson Space Center every week about what's happening on board the International Space Station. Well, we do the official Spanish version, so that's a lot of fun, and I feel like the astronauts are like my friends because I know what they're doing all of the time, so that's quite fun. We can't hear you.
Yep, I got to get used to that. I try to stop it now because the microphone's just so loud. So we got George White from CS Astro, and he is part of our local astronomy club here in Colorado Springs, which is Colorado Springs Astronomical Society. He also is one of the hosts, he and his son, of Clear Skies. If you've never seen Clear Skies, on our YouTube channel at Stardom, please go check it out. If you want to know about the beginnings of astronomy and telescopes, anything as a beginner, that is the best place to start. And your dog definitely has something to say about it, I think.
I'm trying to mute her.
So, welcome to the show. We're going to talk about some stuff. And welcome, Scoob. I don't know why I said that last time, but let's go. George.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Man. So yeah, I mean, busy here in town, busy day. I mean, you saw everything today. That was amazing. It was amazing. Wasn't that amazing?
It was. I wasn't interested. I just wasn't. No.
I thought it was going to scrub. Based on everything they were saying. I thought it was going to be tomorrow. Then we'd be looking at June.
Yeah.
And then today rolled around and the sky's cleared, and I was like, oh, it's going to go.
Well, and I should be a little more clear about what I mean there. I didn't care the last time there was launches. 2011, I didn't care about space. 2011, I was in almost, you know what I mean? For me, I was like, oh, we got some really amazing, EDM artistry, or something was going on. It was some big summer event. I didn't care. I got to MC this thing with the guy from Road Rules tonight. It didn't matter to me. So it was really awesome to be able to be a part of it and quite literally get to be a part of it today and be able to share it with so many people. So we got Imran joining us. Imran, perfect timing. Love the hat. How you doing, sir? We finally got you. You're clear.
Yeah. I was having technical issues.
How are you doing, sir? Welcome to the show. Glad to have you. And Imran and I just figured out, I'm sorry, that Imran and I are just a couple hours up the road from each other. So that's pretty cool. I actually thought you were so much further away, but you're in Santa Fe. So we're glad to have you, just right up the road, state over. So, man, how do you feel about today? Pretty awesome, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty excited. And I have national TV on in the background. It's pretty exciting. It's very historical, and it's very, I can't wait until the docking happens. in the next, 12 hours, 13 hours, whatever it is left.
Yeah, so yeah, I think we have somewhere around there. So we're just excited. There's just yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second here. I got something playing in the background. There we go. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a really exciting time. This is the first time that we've got to see this happen for a very long time. We have two very experienced astronauts that went up, and much like George said, I really thought it was going to be scrubbed today and possibly even tomorrow. So we're just, it happened. It couldn't happen at a better time. There's so much going on in the world right now, and we've all got so many other concerns. And 6 months into this year, we needed a bit of a win, right? So it's nice to be able to celebrate something and the incredible people that are doing incredible things. And speaking of, here in a little while, we actually have somebody that works at SpaceX. So he's going to come on. He had the ability to work on a couple of the things that made today possible. And, he's been celebrating all day with his team, the amazing people that are behind everything that happened. So it's going to be really fun to have him on. But Anna, obviously, you get to do some really cool things and share this kind of news with the world. And you love to talk about space stuff, and you do bake it into your show, which is fantastic. So, if there was, it's Saturday, and you don't do your shows on Saturday. So, if you were, what is it that you'd want to say to the normal audience that normally listens into what you do?
Well, actually, it was really exciting for me because, as you said, not everyone is looking to these events. Not everyone is excited or interested in, and even more here in Latin America, it's a little bit difficult to get people interested in some of these topics about space. But this time, everyone was expecting, so I got to talk about it a lot. I got a few interviews, not today, but on Wednesday, when it was supposed to be, the first attempt of the launch. And it was so exciting because even my family, everyone was asking me what's going to happen, and this is so exciting. And of course, all the disappointment because they are not used to launches being scrubbed, because they don't watch launches enough to know that these things happen. But it was really exciting for me to see people interested. I even got requests from Venezuela and from other countries around the world that are getting really excited. So it was awesome to talk to them about all of the advances that have been going on in these 9 years for astronauts to go to space again from American soil, and how these get us closer to being back to the moon and further. So it has been a great, great, great day.
I can't agree more. So George, you're, I think if I remember correctly, so he would have been so young that he wouldn't remember the last time a launch happened. So what was it like for Eric, who since then has become a major astronomy teacher? Honestly, he is. So this was funny. I remember one day we were at Colorado Springs Astronomical Society, and they were discussing what had just happened at Rocky Mountain Star Stare, which is the big star party event that we have here in Colorado, in Gardner, Colorado, with CS Astro. And they were discussing the paper, or I'm sorry, not the paper, but the presentation that Eric had done. And Eric was 13, I think, at the time.
Yeah, 13 or something like that. Yeah.
Well, we're 13, and what was it that he talked about?
Measuring atmospheric methane levels of Neptune and Pluto using telescope spectroscopy.
Wow.
You just can't help but laugh at that. I'm cackling off screen, right? And this is him, and that's the reason why. Who else would be better to host our show about astronomy than George and Eric? And so it was really great. It was really great to have them on the show. We had such a good time. And so we're looks like we got some comments coming in. Oh, hey, because Anna shared, obviously we got some. So she got the wait. We go. Should we do that or should we do that? What's the best? Can we do like the mix? I don't know if I can do it fast. Bam! Nope, I can't do it fast. So we have everybody joining. There's more than usual, so that's absolutely Anna's fault, and I love it. Imran, I know that you do so much in film, and you and I have been talking about it, and we finally get to have a bit of the conversation, but it just happens to be live that we've been meaning to have for a week. I've just been so busy with everything else. But I mean, how do you feel, man? I know you love this. Like, I know it's something, it just pours out of you when you start talking about it. And it's always great to see. So, I mean, the launch happened. What are you excited for with what's coming next, man?
Well, today was pretty momentous. It's like the first time in a long time, and since 2011, like Americans have launched from American soil. So this is obviously that's a big deal, but even a bigger deal is the fact that this is like the first chapter of private space exploration. So that's like what's got me really, really excited, is that this opens up so many like doors and opportunities like all over the world that people like watch this today and just are a part of the next generation of space explorers and space entrepreneurs. And like the space industry is just gonna grow. Like just in the last like 10 years, we've seen the private space sector grow so much. So like today's launch is just a very strong indicator of things to come. I mean, this is just like a small thing, but a small detail of the big picture. And like even just to reiterate what Elon Musk was saying earlier about the like how the goal is to become a planetary species, like interplanetary species, and which is like, and this is like setting that right now with having this partnership of private and public space sectors doing this. And it's also in the time like this, with everything going on in the world, with like just in real time, this like so much, the world is just so many crazy things are happening. Space has always been a uniter of for humanity, like all the way through since whenever we look up, we look within. So it's such a huge thing right now. It's just to see this glimmer of hope in the midst of all the craziness that's happening, and it's like the ultimate uniter of people, and like the ISS is like a perfect proof of that. So it's just how if we just we can work together. Doesn't matter your background or whatever. Like we can, space brings it all together. Space science brings it all together, and it was pretty momentous. And it's like and I'm excited to see what is in store in the coming days and weeks and months and years for the space exploration programs out there. There's so much being done right now, and there are people all over the world just who saw the launch today and were touched by it in some way. Like in some way, it meant something to them, and they're gonna inside of them they'll interpret it on their own in their own, that's personal to them, but it means something to them. And I think it resonates with a lot of people out there. You don't have to be a space fan of you don't it's just like it just really resonates. And I think this is just the beginning too. So this is like a whole new chapter of that. And like that feeling of like during the Apollo years, it was such a huge thing back then. And I think for our generation and the generation to come after us, it's like it's such a big deal right now, because this is setting the path. But back to the moon, to Mars and beyond, it's setting the path right now. And I'm really, really excited. I'm going to be celebrating for a long time.
Same, man. And I think here's the thing too, is that we're here. This is the change. The other day I was talking with the entire team from Sensoria, which was the all-woman team that went to high seas in Hawaii, and they're all incredible. And actually, one of the team members may be joining us here in just a little while, Micaiah, and they got to do this incredible thing where they got to go as we had all male teams go and it was Mercury, Gemini, everything that happened with that. And then separately, we had the Mercury 13 who were trained and were incredible and had all those talents. And now we're getting to see more of it. A big focus of this is the first time we're going to see women go past the ISS. We're going to see the first woman on the moon. There's so many different opportunities of, for people of color from all backgrounds, humanity is going. Even though humanity went last time, now we're going to just get to see so many different faces that people are going to be able to connect with. And again, it's one of those hashtag representation matters. Seriously, It does. It matters when you see somebody that looks like you and sounds like you and reminds you of what you're capable of, or teaches you for the first time that what you're capable of. And it's this time that's better than anything. And we get to, see true history unfold. And it's a pretty amazing thing. So, is there anybody in particular here that wants to be, one of the next people in space? So we have commercial space coming up. Let's talk about that. This is a commercial, this is commercial crew, right? This is Crew Dragon. This is commercial space flight. This is kind of the beginning of it on something more than just suborbital flight. Elon, SpaceX, they've discussed, the Dear Moon trip, taking artists, taking musicians, taking different voices with Yusaka to go in orbit around the moon and come back, and they will then tell the story of what that's like. They're going to take folks to the ISS to be able to go on, vacations. We have a lot of these different things that are coming up that change the games. That change the game. What is $40 million or even $250,000 just for suborbital spaceflight is going to go down over the next decade and so on. So this was the beginning of so many things. How does it feel to you? And let me know who wants to go first. First one with their hands up goes first. Nobody. I like the fact that all of you are like, I'll let somebody else go first because they're awesome.
I'll go. I mean, for me, it's I'm 54, so I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm stuck here. That's all it is. Younger generation, Eric's generation, the next generation, they're going to have the opportunity because of what's happening today. I mean, what Elon Musk has done, obviously, he's privatizing space. Is what he's doing. He's making it available to the common guy, and he's going to let other kids nowadays see, well, if he can do it, then I can do it. And there's going to be more and more people coming into it, more and more businesses doing it, more and more opportunities. I mean, it's only been, 60 years since the first human in orbit. I mean, with 60 years, we've got this accomplished. What's the next 60 going to bring? With privatized space travel, it's going to open things up. And so Eric's standing here looking at me. Yeah, we're talking about you. And, for him, I mean, he's 16. The opportunity for him is going to be there when he is 30, 40 years old. Imagine you take that first 60 years, everything we accomplished, what's next 30 years going to show? There's going to be more and more. The opportunities are going to open up, provided we keep going and we don't get some, big, huge setback or something. But it's going to open things up. And it's going to open them up for everybody around the world. You no longer have to be an astronaut or a military fighter pilot. You can be a specialist in any area. As long as you're a specialist, you can have that opportunity to go. And over time, it is going to be the artists and the painters and the plumbers that they're going to need and all this stuff as we move out to the moon and beyond.
Nailed it. So next, Anna, how about you? Do you want to go to space? I know you want to go to space. I have no doubt. I don't even need to ask you. I've never asked you that question before, but you'll be like, I will go to space. I will clone myself and take 3 more of me, so it's just me in the spacecraft. I'll teach. One of them will learn to fly. One of us will learn to be a thief, so that way we can actually steal the ship. We will go on our own without asking anyone. Is what we'll do. That's how determined of a person I know you are.
Exactly. I would go to space right now. Actually, I have a few friends, a few Hispanic friends at NASA, and when I've got the chance to visit them at JPL, I remember this conversation. They are both engineers, and they're working in different areas and with different teams and everything. And I remember, and they're very young. They're like 25, 23. I'm not that young, and they were like discussing if they would go to space because they would think about their families, and it's not like they're thinking about marriage and what will happen to their kids and things like that. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys, what's wrong with you? You are engineers at NASA, and you're thinking you may not go to space if you get the chance. So yeah, I would definitely go to space. And for that reason, I think that the event that we witnessed today is completely a complete breakthrough for all the people like me that are really willing to go to space. One of the reasons why I really love space, I studied philosophy for my bachelor's degree. So one of the things that really draws me to space is all of the philosophical meaning that it has for us as a species, for us as humanity, to be able to gain another perspective, a completely different perspective. So I really believe that having the ability, like the opportunity, the real opportunity to go to space is going to be the reason why we can change the paradigms that we're living right now. Because throughout all of humanity's history, we have always had the earth as our center. But what is going to happen to our minds and to our fundamental concepts when we know what's further, when we can move this center to another place? It's like when we thought the earth was the center of the universe, or when we thought the sun was the center of the universe. We are gaining new perspectives, and this is going to change us forever. So I think today was a really important step for this to happen. So I'm really excited about it.
And I love this. I love whenever the deep philosophical questions come up of, this is, we're stepping out, and we're no longer stepping out as just a few people. We're going to start stepping out as a species as a whole. This is the beginning of that. It's how many people are going to see it differently. We saw people that were absolutely incredible, pilots and engineers, and even a touch or two of scientists that went to the moon, especially with who was that person that might be coming to RMSS next year, George?
That was Harrison Schmitt.
And who was Harrison Schmitt, who was the only one on the moon?
He might have been involved in Apollo 17 somehow.
He was the first scientist to go to the moon.
That was exactly right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Geologist,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
Yep.
That was the joke. And see, so I'm glad that Imran got it. Imran's like, was he the first? I'm sorry, I can't speak as amazing as he can.
I saw him too. Sorry.
Was that the first scientist to go to the moon? Yes, it was. I love it. That voice that was the one that came up with it. Yes. So that's kind of the point, is that we're going to see more and more of that. We saw the first ones, and it's a really exciting time that we're so lucky to see this. And what's going to change with that? What happens when let's say Eric, who loves space and science, but we'll probably pick up a few other skills on the way, may get to go to the moon and be able to tell us what he thinks about it. What happens when Karina, who's chewing right now, so I'm going to call her out, gets
Nice.
the chance as someone who very much like me. So Karina and I have her much more than I, has a very serious background in we love comics, and we love the cons and all of that. I wanted to go when all the fat curly-headed funny guys started popping up in LA. I'm like, I'm fat and curly-headed, and I'm somewhat sort of good-looking. I can do this. If Seth Rogen can do it, I can do it. And so that was a big goal of mine. But we look at these people that are out there that are doing really wonderful things, and they're bringing wholly new voices to what's going to happen in space and what it is. Space will, just like everything else has become for everyone. It's becoming for everyone. We're in the process of that. So it's an exciting time. Karina, how's it going? Welcome to the show. Eric, welcome to the show as well on the side. Eric, if you only say 3 words again this time, I'm going to come over there and I'm going to find the version that never shuts up that I know about.
That's you, buddy.
That's you, buddy. I'm talking to you.
In other words, speak.
You have much as voice as anybody else, brother. Yeah, glad to see you here. Karina, how are you doing?
Doing well. Just, trying to, celebrate today's launch.
Tasty beverage.
And I was chewing on popcorn, the proper celebration and I guess proper dinner, popcorn and wine.
Okay.
That's like, well, I mean, that's the new movie usual. So now you can go to a bar at the movies and, why not celebrate it the very same way?
Exactly.
Ooh. So this is a pretty good one. I love whenever Snyder pops up because he's a deep thinker. If you consider the dramatic progress of technology in the past 2 decades and apply some form of a modified Moore's law to space travel, it's fully plausible we have affordable space flight in 60 years. Nailed it. That's just such a great point to bring up, is that, so for those that may not know what Moore's law is, let me think of exactly what it is. every 18 months, computer power doubles. So if it does that, we're going to get to a point that everything's just going to have that big snowball, right? It's an exponential thing that's going to continue to take off. So wherein are we in another 10 years, 20 years, 30 years of computer advancement? And what are we going to be able to accomplish with that? We already have the ability that they are successfully taking just the cells from an organism and in a healthy way growing that food from that. So we will no longer have to kill animals. We can just grow something that is a chicken breast from that, and it is generally healthy, and we won't have to kill things anymore. That's nuts to me. They will be able to take cells from you and then 3D print something if you need it, like an ear or a heart or a liver. We're in this most amazing time. And by the way, this is not something that I'm coming up with off the top of my head. This is people that are coming, like the top scientists in the world that are going to major events like the Humans to Mars Summit and talking about this. We are you are living in the future. And that's a pretty amazing thing to be a part of. We are in that Star Trek future, not Star Wars, because Star Wars didn't look in the future in a bright way. Love Star Wars, but here we are. So I mean, I know that
a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah. One's in the past. Whenever it's a 9-movie long family feud that I still love, or between like 8 people, or we have Star Trek, which is
to be fair, Star Trek takes place on Earth, started on Earth. Star Wars it is a whole of the galaxy that nothing to do with Earth.
Yeah, so very long ago.
But yeah, Star Trek all the way.
But with humans that know magic. So, I mean, what?
The Force is not magic.
The Force is magic. It's better than midi-chlorians, let's be honest. Do we want to go down that road? I mean, like, come on now. Can we also go to wooden acting? I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, but we're looking at these incredible things that are going on right now that there's stuff that in Star Trek was how many hundreds of years in the future that we are now used to. None of us are in the same place except for me and George. And me and George are still far enough down the road that it's impressive the fact that we're seeing video. But we have Mexico City, we have DC, and we have Santa Fe. At the minimum, one state over, at the maximum, a country away. And this is all happening instantaneously that we get to share our thoughts and our feelings. And no one here looks the same, thinks the same, came from the same place. And that's just, six people that get to sit here and have these conversations. How many people around the world are having those as well? As much as with all the crazy and the change that's happening, there's still the people that are here are making the difference for the future. And that's what's really, really important, that we see that Star Trek future and not Star Wars future, or even the Earth Wars future, right?
Yeah, I think, but it took warp drive in Star Trek to change the world. So to go back to Moore's law about how computing and technology is advancing so much, like even with today's technology, we can do so much, but it's always like politics and funding that gets in the way. Now, space is becoming part of, it's like mainstream now. It's like pop culture. It's like a household thing. It's like becoming such a huge thing. I remember growing up, it was such a, like you had to either become a pilot or a scientist or an engineer. You had to become a specialist in something in order to even become an astronaut, to even apply to the astronaut program. Now with what's going on with today's technology and the internet, social media and pop culture, and with today's launch, is that it's opening up those doors to, artists, philosophers and other people to actually, we can go to space too, and we will. And they're like programs being opened up, will be opened up in the future to make that possible. So if, like today's kids who are watching this, who are watching the launch, or like, aspiring to do that, they could be writers or artists or whatever, and they can go to space in like 5, 10 years, 15 years, they'll be going to space. They don't, they don't have to be limited in thinking they have to go and apply for a certain course like university or do this or do that, follow a certain path. Like now space is for everybody. It's not just for the scientists or the engineers or the pilots. It's for everybody. And what today has done has proven that. And with the launch and with everything going on in pop culture and just more and more we're talking about and spreading the word about space, is that it's making it possible, and I think the more we do that, the better we'll be in a position to actually be able to overcome those obstacles that the politicians or the other people throw at us and say, no, we're not going to do this, not going to do that, because it's becoming such a part of like everyday thing. It's not just part of the entertainment industry. It's becoming a part of pop culture. It's becoming part of like just everyday dialogue in our homes. So it's like it's such a huge thing, and I think it's really important with the way like SpaceX it's become like a brand. It's a brand that everybody wants to follow. Elon Musk is like a brand name that everybody wants to like be a part of. And it's such a, and behind all of it, it's like all this stuff we want to do. We want to go to the moon. We want to go to Mars. We want to colonize. We want to do all these other great stuff, which is aligned with Star Trek. And but it's just like I was saying in Star Trek, it took first contact to change the trajectory of the human race. It took that first contact moment to happen with the Vulcans that changed the course, like made the Federation happen, that did all of that. What is our gonna, what's our turning point in our future that's going to change it all? Like we're slowly getting there, but but today's launch was just the beginning of that. But is it going to be when we land on Mars, or is it going to be something else? Or is there some kind of new propulsion technology we have yet to discover? What kind of breakthroughs are going to take for us to have our comparable moment where it will change our trajectory as the human race? And I think today's launch is a powerful indicator of that, of the shape of things to come. It's like it's pretty exciting. It's got a lot more people tuned into what's going on. And if you can, and the challenges being with everything going on in the world right now, is to be able to have space as a way of of moving us forward. Like it affects all of us on a day-to-day basis, and it's such a and for our imagination, it pushes us to go further and further. And I wouldn't be surprised at like how much of an impact today's launches had on the younger generation right now all over the world. People turning it from developing countries or hardly any access to to the internet, and like have heard about this or saw a clip of this or saw something, and it's completely like planting a seed in their mind where they're going to be like inspired to do this. And for 10, 15 years time, those kids are going to be the one that are going to be changing the course of history for humanity. And it's amazing. So what we witnessed today was a huge thing, and I hope humanity goes in the direction of Star Trek, because that'll be amazing. And but we have a long way to go, but at least we're on that path to the stars and beyond. And I'm excited what it will do for us, and I'm excited that it finally opens up doors for artists and other professions out there, and other people from different backgrounds. Like you don't have to be in a position that I was many years ago, where you had to follow a specific path. What am I gonna do? Astrophysics, which I did. I majored in astrophysics because I love space. But it's like, do I have to follow that path to get to a place of being part of space? Of expressing that. And but nowadays you could be anybody. You could be anybody. Long if you love space, and if you love the Earth, if you love this planet so much, you by default love space too. Like we're on a spaceship. So I'm just like excited about what it will do in the next within the next decade in our lifetime. How much of a change it's going to make on our everyday in day-to-day life. Like it's going to be a thing. It's going to be a huge thing for people to aspire to and work towards, and it's a great force of being united too. So it's a huge force to unite with everybody around the world, and I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's going to be if it's going to be that one thing, like you said, Star Trek. It was warp drive, or that was the one thing that kicked it all off. I wonder if it's going to be that one thing, whether it's a mechanical thing, it's an invention, it's something in astrobiology, it's something in chemistry, it's something that this kid comes up with. Is it going to be that, or is it going to be a buildup of little things? Hey, we have the privatization first, and somebody comes up with the new technology that is able to do this and enable this thing, and combine that with these other 2 or 3 or 4 things. I don't know if it's going to be the one warp drive things that just kicks it off, or if it's going to be a gradual buildup, and suddenly 30, 40 years from now, we say, oh, hey, hang on, Look,
It's
where
probably
we're
going to be
going.
both.
He's already on his way to Mars. You know, he's talking chemistry and astrobiology, going to Mars, and maybe it's that. Maybe it's a combination of things as well. Maybe it's not just the warp drive.
Well, and I think when it comes to that as well, this is where imagination and pop culture really comes into play, because a lot of where we see ourselves going comes from science fiction. Like you've been talking about warp drive. That's like, we got this idea and we never know what the next generation of artists are also going to come up with, what type of science fiction they're being inspired to create from like today's launch or anything that's really happening with the industry right now. So as we move forward, we'll start to see a little bit more of that inspiration that this is causing, and also kind of having a loop effect into the inspiration that it will have on all the people joining the industry and all the new talent coming in and saying, hey, I want to make that a reality. So, I think there's going to have to be like that fun interaction between the creatives and the next generation of STEM professionals and non-STEM professionals in the industry.
Great point. So I just want to say real quick, he has to disappear for a second, but we literally have the man of the hour. And Travis is here. Travis, not a lot of people from SpaceX, I guess, are really allowed to talk about a whole lot of stuff, so we got really lucky. Travis helped build the spacesuit that you all saw today. He helped with the harnessing. He helped build the Dragon capsule. And he is also one of the nicest guys ever. And he also was the first person that got me into SpaceX and gave me a tour. And he was incredible. So he had to bounce for a minute because, surprise, he works for SpaceX and there's an issue at the moment. Not that kind of issue. Everything's fine. Not like that. But, he just consistently has to work these really long days. So I'm glad to always have Travis join in and talk about the stuff that he gets to do on a day-to-day basis. So we're going to talk about that here in just a few. So Snyder says, serious, not so serious question. How long until Musk makes a Firefly-class spaceship? I don't think that's Musk's type, because let's be honest, Serenity it's the frontier of spacecraft. It is. Like, I don't have a problem with Spirit and Frontier, but it's all falling apart, and the crew keeps it in the end, right? So I don't think that he'll ever get around to that. Eric, what do you think, buddy? Let us know. What's your thoughts?
Yes, I was just going to talk about the developments for the future and getting to Mars. I think a lot of it has to do with what we have to do to be able to progress research. So going to Mars, a lot of that would probably be because the rovers can't do anything more. The rovers aren't as useful anymore, and there's research that they can't do because of the limitations they have, because it takes a long time for signals to get there and then to get back. And then by the time you program a command and by the time you know if it went well or not, it might already be too late to change if something very bad went wrong, if it got stuck somewhere. So that's what people are needed there for. So I think that's a lot of what will eventually send people to Mars, is that the rovers will reach their limits, and then people need to be there to do something about it.
Automation's only going to take us perhaps so far. You're going to have that human element to continue to, no kidding, do the drive thing.
No, I mean, well, I'll say right now, you nailed it. There is... Curiosity has only gone so far. You have probably gone further in your parking lot today, even if you just took your dog for a walk, than Curiosity has ever been. There is, so on Science on the Sphere at the Space Foundation Discovery Center, we show it, and it's on Mars. It's a pin, like it's a push pin that's on it. It is actually way too big to really highlight how much. It's way more than Curiosity's ever been to. It just looks good. We can say, well, it's that point, but we mean at the very end of what you see on here, it's still maybe like 100th of that. It's barely moved in comparison to what we are used to. So it's one of those things that we are. Sky's here. What up, Sky? So good to have you. So we've been really fortunate to see what we've been able to see. But when you have to send a signal, wait for that signal to come back, that's so long. We can get out in a spacesuit and walk, and then the actual geologist gets to walk up and grab something and come back and test it. There's so many things that it is safer to send a robot, and it's gonna be both. Karina was in our Explore Mars YP panel the other day, Young Professionals panel for people that don't know. And the question was asked by Khan Afe, and he said, which one? Humans or robots? It's both. The answer is both. Of course it's both. It's both now. We'll always be both. We will always have a human. We'll always have a Mark Watney, and we'll always have a Wally. We should have both always. So on that note, Sky, what do you think about everything that's happening in the world right now? Tell us your full opinion. Go.
Sorry, I just got home. It's You're putting me on the spot.
So let me back out real quick. I am kidding. So Sky is an incredible science communicator that does some stuff for us at Stardom, but she also works at Kennedy Space Center doing some pretty amazing things. And she also got to watch the launch today from the Space Coast. Yeah. So how about that? George, can I kick you? Well, I have to figure out who. I have to pick. No? You good for a little bit?
Yeah.
All right, watch and I'll bring you back, okay? Because I'm going to bring in Travis too. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And I'll bring him back in. You know you're welcome. He's right up the road. He knows I'm not going to get rid of him.
He's not going to kick his door in 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. I'll see you guys here in just a few, so that way we can bring him
go
in.
ahead.
So, and Eric, save any questions you have, so next time we bring you back. So Travis is also here. So we'll start with Sky first. So I mentioned what Sky does. Sky, tell us a little bit about how you're feeling now. You got to watch it today. Want to be a future astronaut, just like many people that are on here. So how you doing?
It's overwhelming, if I'm being honest. I started doing this when I was 15 years old, and it was kind of a fluke thing. And basically, long story short, I was lucky enough to meet the launch integration manager for Commercial Crew Program, Steve Kane. And he kind of brought me on the team. I think I was there for family days, and I started doing the PAO side of Commercial Crew Program, passing out posters. This was way before it was even crewed. So I've kind of seen this program grow. And personally, I've been through a lot. And, I've had some trials of, you can't do it. Turns out you can. And seeing the launch today after the buildup of getting so close on Wednesday and literally getting T-17 and having it scrubbed, and all that anxiety, which I'm sure we all had. And then today being about 6 miles away from it and seeing it go up, not gonna lie, I cried like an absolute baby. I bawled my eyes out. It was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. And seeing rocket launches, just cargo on it, you're like, okay, cool, it's cargo. But this was human lives, and it's been 9 years. So I'm pretty sure at a point I looked at her and I was like, there's people on there. And I just yelled it out because I was so overwhelmed.
What had happened was.
Exactly. And just being able to see it, the weather cleared up out of nowhere. It was completely beautiful. Blue skies, shot right up, straight like an arrow. No problems at all. And being able to feel the rumble of the engines and hear it and bawl your eyes out. But the really, honestly, the special moment was for me was that Steve was actually on console, and right after he got off, he came to my work building, and we literally ran to each other, pretty much cried in each other's arms, and just kept saying we did it. So it was an absolute experience that I will never forget ever.
Well, let's talk about somebody who may never forget this day. Well, Travis, let's see if we can hear you. I've got some hum coming from you, but can we hear your voice finally?
I think it's fixed.
There we are. So, let's talk about the guy that may have had something a little bit to do with what happened today. So how you feeling, buddy? Nothing today didn't matter to you at all whatsoever. No emotions, nothing, right?
Not really. This is actually the first launch that I've actually been around other people for. So I normally don't do even when I'm at the Cape, I'm not really watching it. I'm watching it from the hotel. So this was the first time I was around other coworkers and actually saw it, and got to see the aspect of what other people see about the launches, the excitement, and all that stuff. Whereas to me, it's like, today's Saturday. I need to do laundry.
Maybe build a spacesuit.
Yeah. So.
Well, okay, so let's back that up a little bit. So tell us what you were allowed to tell us about what it is that you do. If you just want to say, well, I work for a particular place that had a part of the thing today, that's fine. Although I probably have told everybody exactly what you do earlier on the live stream. But I try, but we talk enough that I generally know what I can and can't say.
Right.
But, it's always fun. And then there's especially like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. It's like, man, are you excited? He's like, Ron, I'm at work. Shh. And then that's the end of the conversation. But sometimes we have really in-depth conversations about things that are going on. So you want to tell us a little bit about it, whatever you can, with making sure that you you get to stick around.
Yeah, Big Brother's always listening to me. So it started about maybe 6 years ago. I jumped onto the R&D team for Paddabort, and we basically had to design the capsule from scratch. We used the same weldment we used for cargo, but it was a complete new harness redesign. We were limited. So basically for the past like 5 or 6 years, it's just been how do we route this? How do we design this better? How do we make the capsule lighter? How do we keep the astronauts, healthy with air? How do we design suits that are going to work for them and all that other stuff? So really just everything based on it. Like we went to Houston with the docking adapter to test it out with NASA. Just a whole host of stuff. So it's pretty much, if it was brand new, then our team hit it. And that wasn't just for even SpaceX 2, same thing with the drone ship. That's about as much as I can probably tell you.
Fair enough. I mean, well, we're still glad to have you. So we have Snyder is saying right now that there's only a few things that you should be saying. If there was one launch, first Daniel Yount said, and hopefully Daniel, I'm saying your name right. I've never asked you to make sure. It says, if any, this will be the one you would want to see, right? And then Snyder said, I think Travis needs to jump up right now and get excited. Anything less than a Ric Flair style, woo, is unacceptable. So if you have earned a moment, this might be it, right? With all the stuff that you've done.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I never really was as enthusiastic as most people were for it. So, I mean, I think the only other launch that I got kind of semi-excited for was the first Falcon Heavy. And it was really just me going, oh, crap, it worked. And that was basically the amount of excitement I kind of got out of that. I mean,
you put so much time into it. Our conversations are so long where me and you have worked like these really crazy hours, and I've worked crazy hours and I love it. But he's like, well, I worked 12 hours, came home and I had some lunch, and then I left and went back, and we're gonna work until whenever I leave. Not saying he's forced.
me. Okay.
I think it might be around tonight.
Okay. Issues, just straight issues.
Thought we got attacked by aliens for a second.
That was weird attack.
Anyone know somebody that works at SETI?
Yeah. Every time Ron opened his mouth, it was just static.
Yeah.
All Ron's fault.
Oh my god.
I think it is Ron. Right?
Is it Ron
Can
causing the issue?
can everyone hear each other clearly?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I hear you guys fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just Ron.
There's this picture where he looks like he's saying aliens.
Yeah, that's true.
Literally that picture.
Yeah.
This is maybe there's a conspiracy theory right here. A whole new conspiracy theory to be born out of this.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You know. I mean,
Once
there
I
is,
wouldn't doubt that. That's
Livestream,
for
the
sure.
views are really pretty right now.
yeah, perfect timing too with the launch and everything. Maybe there are aliens just looking down at us right now, watching us, listening in to see what everybody's talking about right now.
Yeah.
Before they make first contact, before they come down and stop and make first contact. I'll be worthy. But based on seeing Ron right now, I don't know. I think it really put off the aliens right now. Right? Like we're supposed to be so advanced with our technology right now, and you can't even get a mic to work. I mean, what are we gonna do?
Yeah, I think he has that whole new setup now. He's been bragging about on Facebook for the past week or so. So
He's been going on about
You know,
forever. Yeah.
I've got a couch and a laptop, and I'm working decent.
Oh,
You know.
Yeah.
Can you,
Simple as
can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
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 You can hear me now. Okay, so Travis, I remember where you live, and I just remember. I'm just saying.
I mean, just because you know where I live, it doesn't mean I'm there.
I actually have no clue where you live. I've met you. So Travis heard about me like an hour before. He said, "Oh, sure, I'll take that guy on a tour and I'll show him around." So and then we've just been friends since then. So all right, so everybody can hear me. Anna, can you see? Anna, can you hear us?
I can hear you, but I can see a few green screens and some of you. I don't know why.
Wait. We now all need normal. This is what we need. We all need the normal hats from Innsbrucker. What we need, which is amazing. So I'm just saying. So okay, I'm glad about that. So well, what I was going to ask was, and there's so much going on, and I was going to kind of turn the conversation a little bit, and I'm going to give it to Anna for a particular reason. Is that Mexico is an emerging space country, and you've actually worked for the Mexican Space Agency, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah.
And you used to, so there's more and more people doing it. And I'm not saying that you have to represent them in this, but it's becoming a bigger thing, and you are one of those voices. What does that mean to you to be a part of that?
Well, it's really, really important. Our space agency is quite young, even though we started our space efforts very early. But then, of course, it was not a priority for the government, so they stopped. And then the Mexican Space Agency is just about 10 or 11 years old, but I think we've got a few good advances. We had the International Astronautical Congress in 2016. I was working at the Mexican Space Agency at that time. I was the director of press and public affairs, so I got to open the ceremony and everything, and it was really insane to host everybody with staff as small as it is at the Mexican Space Agency. But I think it's really coming together right now. We have a little bit more support right now from the government, but still, it's very hard to try to engage politicians because, of course, being a third world or a developing country, space seems to be not in the urgent agenda, and it's very far behind within the interests and the things that politicians think that we need to do. But I think I wanted to say, since a while ago when we were talking about how important this event was, that also we have to highlight the fact that it happened right now during this whole pandemic and all the situation that we're living in, because I've been feeling that some of the technologies that we have developed throughout the years, like 10 to 30 years from now, to the past, some of them didn't quite make sense until now. I mean, of course, we had all these telecommunications and video calls and all the possibilities of doing things remotely, but we really didn't appreciate it. And for example, here in Mexico or in other developing countries, we also had online shopping and commerce and everything, but we didn't really, we were not really paying attention to it until now. And I think so many technologies and so many things are making sense right now. And I think when these things make sense, they advance much more, they advance very quickly. Imagine, I mean, we had, I don't know, Da Vinci imagining all of these machines and things like that, but it didn't make sense for the culture, and it didn't make sense for the time they were living. But now they make sense. So I think now that we're living in a new context where we need more technology, where we are relying on science to survive and to keep our economies running and to try to save our lifestyle as we know it, I think it's very, very appropriate, even though it could seem that it wasn't the best time, but I think it was, because it can click into everybody's mind much easier. That's what I really think, and I appreciate, like, seeing the bright side of this situation. I don't know what you think.
I think you're dead on. I think there's been so much that's been happening that we're all dealing with, and the world needed to win. Even if you don't agree with everything that's going on with certain people, this is something that, I don't know. Sorry, just cracking up by that. This is something that we're all kind of feeling right now. The world needed to win. We needed to see something, and this was a game changer. Astronauts have launched from U.S. soil before, but not on something that was built by commercial, not by something that started with this person that moved here and changed things. Anybody here has the mind to be able to do something, except for me. I'm not quite there, but everybody else, pretty brilliant people. So that's kind of that's kind of what we've got here. We've got this really big thing that's happening, and it's amazing to be a part of it and see it. And when we all need it, everybody here got to be a voice for it. They got to share it with their friends. Some quite literally had their hands involved in it. And that's a really, really cool thing. So I need somebody that's ready to make a very long statement about what's going on, so that way I can go grab something to drink. So who's ready to go for like 4 to 5 minutes minimum? Imran? Sky, I know.
I was going to say I need a drink too. I'm empty.
So Sky,
Yes.
we need to hear your entire breakdown of the commercial crew program until I come back and tell you to just, you're done, KSC. We're done with you. Are you ready? 3?
Yeah.
My name is Optimus Prime. You have 3, 2, 1, go.
I guess we're doing a countdown now. Yeah, so I mean, I guess I'll start off. So one of the things that I do as a NASA Solar System Ambassador, which is a volunteer position, I give presentations at Kennedy Space Center. And for the past 5 years now, this is my 5th year doing it, I've actually been talking about the Commercial Crew Program. When it first came out, everyone was kind of like, oh, this is like the new space race. Instead of US versus Russia, it's going to be SpaceX versus Boeing. And when I first did this presentation, it was very informal, kind of just more information, things like that. But then I kind of decided to play on this idea of Boeing versus SpaceX. And I would split the room in half. Half the room would be Boeing, half the room would be SpaceX. So that way people could learn about it and learn more about it. So once Commercial Crew kind of started getting more of the words out there, you know, we all followed the programs. We saw them build the capsules. We saw them name the capsules. And then all of a sudden they named the crew. And a lot of them were familiar faces from the shuttle days, just like Doug and Bob. But then we did have new people like Victor Glover and Nicole Mann, who hopefully will be launching soon. I don't know when, but soon. So the Commercial Crew Program has definitely grown into something quite incredible. I'm not going to lie, I was very skeptical when it first happened. I think all of us were, because we're used to NASA launches things. It's NASA. It's not commercial. It's not commercial. And just the sheer fact, I saw somebody the other day share that, I think it was yesterday, that 6 years ago yesterday to the day they unveiled the Crew Dragon. So the fact that it was basically about 6 years later, I think 6 years or 2 years, I don't know if I'm getting the date slipped. It's been a long day, but it's just absolutely incredible to see that how far a program can go. And even with Boeing, yeah, they didn't necessarily get there first. They did have a little bit of a mishap with the Starliner that didn't quite make it to the International Space Station. But I think that all kind of humbled us in a way of that things do happen. You know, nobody's perfect. We're all sitting here as engineers, scientists, whatever it may be. And the fact that Boeing was like, you know what, we didn't quite do it right the first time, but we're going to go back and do it again, just purely shows basically how far things can go. And it's funny, I was sitting at work today and a lot of us were talking about, okay, well, I don't get it. Why was it so easy for SpaceX to get there? And there's obviously a bunch of different theories, but also a lot of people think that they already had a capsule in mind. They had, you know, the cargo.
God, is she still going, man? What happened with that? I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
You can. It's fine. Yeah. But they had the see, you got me off track now. The Cargo Dragon, and
that's what I do.
Yeah, it's fine. The Cargo Dragon, and they did kind of remake that and renew it into a Crew Dragon, which was absolutely incredible. So I have to say, hands down to the teams at SpaceX and Boeing, but everybody at SpaceX that made this launch, everybody at NASA that kind of integrated all of it, and then of course to Bob and Doug, who probably feel really awesome right now. I'm kind of jealous.
Can we talk real quick about what happened to you, Travis? So Travis told me a pretty cool story one time, and so I need to know if it's okay that he tells it. Because something happened that was really, really funny that he's like, no, it sucked. But everybody else thought it was awesome. Is that within the level that it won't get you, you know?
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine.
It's super funny, too. Like, I think you guys will enjoy it. Like, so I get the candid stuff, which is fun. You know, I try not to pick his brain too much because I know he started thinking about it. But he'll tell me the funny stories, and I love that I get to be like, can you tell us the funny story?
Oh, you want me to actually tell it?
But can you tell the story?
No, I can. Yeah. So, okay. Their orbital trainer that they have, we were working on that for a while, trying to basically get it set up to mock the actual capsule they're flying in today. And there's LED lights that run the capsule top bottom, and they're not in the best of place, so they were getting broken, and I had to fix them. And during one of the breaks, I got told, you know, go in there, fix it, make it work again. I was like, okay, yeah, no problem. So I'm in there, I got all my stuff, and then the hatch closes, the side hatch. And then I hear over their comm like, oh, hey, sorry, we kind of locked you in there. It's going to be 5 minutes till you can get out. Are you cool? And, you know, that was basically it. I came out and they were laughing, and I was like, oh, that was a fun trip, you know. So, you know, being locked in by astronauts trying to learn how to do the hatch, that was definitely one of those, like, you know, to everybody else, a pretty cool little story. And to me, it's just like, well, I want to go home. Now I got to wait 5 more minutes till I can finish up and get out of here. So.
But that's awesome, though. You know, everybody hears, and this is what's great, too, is that I talked to Travis about it, and he mentioned it earlier, is that Travis hears about how awesome his job is from the outside world. You know, he does the job, and he goes in every day, and he's done it since before he was there when everybody was clapping and yelling and Innsbrucker, and everybody was doing these live streams for the first time. And it was just, you know, and the story's great. Well, let's back this up. There's a very important story to Travis being who he is. And I don't know if it's something you want to share now because it's something you've talked about that you want to share with people in the future. But Travis is not, when most people think about SpaceX, they think that it's going to be this person that's a superhuman genius, right? They went to school and they got a PhD, and, you know, we've all heard Elon say, I didn't go to Harvard, but the people that work for me did, or however it works, even though he still went to 2 amazing schools. So that's one of those play on that. But now you hear him say, I don't care if you even got out of high school and so on, but he's actually always had a little bit of that behind him. And Travis is just, you know, he's not a didact. He learns things and he picks things up. But Travis, you want to share that story because I love that. And there's a lot of people that are on here right now that are kind of that too.
Oh, sorry, you liked out. What story do you want me to tell this time?
Just well, you talked about the fact that it's just, this is not your background. There's not the engineering degree.
Oh yeah,
It's what you like to inspire in people, that you are a major piece of the things that go on. But
I thought I started my first career. I was a theater technician. I was doing lighting, special effects for theater houses as a night job, and then
I see Sky and Karina both smiling right now.
I had some little weird jobs. I worked at the hospital with my parents. Then I started working as a tech over at some of the amusement parks around here. So it's just, wiring, lighting, special effects, audio, all that kind of stuff. That's all I basically did. And then come to SpaceX, I accepted a position thinking I'm an electrician. And then it turns out, no, you're going to be building wire harnesses. So that was something we had to learn. But, the way SpaceX was back then, and still kind of is today, where it was like, we have people right now who were baristas when they first started, and now they're on my team. SpaceX definitely has a different way of doing things. So even if you have that background of electrical engineering or mechanical engineering, when you come to SpaceX, we kind of do things a little different. So, top of your class, MIT, whatever, what you learn does kind of help out. But for like my team and the people who are on my team, it's more along the lines of like, we've got to learn how to do all these. We have to think like an engineer, think like a tech. And so really, some of the other guys that are on my team, they don't have that background, or rockets wasn't their end goal. It was basically just come in, thought it was fun, built it, and then that excitement comes from that. Of course, all the engineers went to school or interned and were studying, all the cool numbers and, big brain things, but I think that was the cool thing about SpaceX is, you didn't have to have that background, to get to the company and actually succeed. And having a bunch of people kind of on your side to kind of train you up, I think is what allows us to kind of do what we're doing now as quickly as we are.
And I love that. And I think is there anybody here that's already got, a master's or a PhD in some sort of science? Because everybody here is doing something that changes things. So anybody? Because I don't.
I have a bachelor's degree.
You have a bachelor's degree, right? And so
science in astrophysics, yeah.
So that, by the way, is interesting because there's not very many people that have a bachelor's degree in astrophysics. Like there's very few people that have, that can even be on a track for astrophysics, which is amazing. But we're also looking at the fact that the majority of the people we know, that's one of the big things about this, is that space has become for everyone. How many people here are in media and science communicators? Karina, yes, you too. Not saying that's your main job, but you also
de facto.
Yeah, but you do it as well. Like it's something that you were equally as that, speaking at South by Southwest. On the Explore Mars panel the other day, doing our social media panel last year. It's something that's a part of that. But we took skill sets that we had, and we were able to utilize it. That we get to sit and talk to people like this right now. This is a thing. We're on Twitch talking about the future of space, and there's only a few other people that are even really doing that. And that's awesome. But people are finding that more and more. Like I know Dustin Gibson's on there from OPT Telescopes, and they're doing live streams of stuff there. But it's changing more and more that we get to be that. We get to be voices. And again, the longer this goes on, everybody comes from a different background. Everybody comes from a different place. And, Imran, with what you get to do, you've got to work in the film industry and do stuff. And that's also, you slide over to Karina with that. Travis was part of theater. Anna is quite literally a TV show host. And I've heard Sky sing, every single person on here comes from what? Entertainment. I was changed by a TV show, Cosmos. That just goes to show, like, everyone's involved in that. And that's the big thing. It used to be STEM and now it's STEAM. For a very important reason. Everyone here can be a storyteller in a different way and shows it in a different way and inspires in a different way. And that is huge. And that's why today mattered so much. No one would have watched the 4 million people that watched it. Who was there that told the story? It was the communicators. It was the social media. It was the live streams. It was everything that happened got to tell that. And that's what's really awesome about it, is that we get to be a part of telling that story now. We are a new version of a Walter Cronkite, but Sky's video that she showed, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, she works there and she's crying and this is awesome. But we all felt it in a certain way. And that's what matters. It's what moves us and how we can tell those stories. And I think that's a very important thing. So, sorry, let me get off my soapbox now. But that's where I'm at with that one.
I think you're right. Yeah. In addition to because the science communicators out there, shout out to all the science communicators out there, official or unofficial or whatever. Like, you guys are doing an excellent job. I think, and because you're changing the narrative in how we communicate with each other, but also talking about science, putting it in a format that people can understand. Because coming from a science background and also working in the entertainment industry, I think there's so many people out there that just do not understand science. I mean, science literacy 101 is not a thing with most of the people out there. And it's the job of the science communicator to be clear and clarify those things. I mean, there's so much amazing work being done out there in labs and various different things. Like, scientists are doing such amazing work out there, but most of them are very terrible in the way of communicating to the average person. So it's really, without bringing in science terminology and this and that, people don't understand that. People don't want, they just don't know how to process that information. We're already living in an age where science literacy is very it's very not many people get it. But using the language of entertainment, and science communicating is the way to bridge that gap between science and art, but also to show people, to express that to people, to communicate that to people. And I think it's really important that these science communicators, whether you're using Instagram as a platform or Facebook or whatever else out there, is to engage with the world out there, to put it into words that people can understand, because that is one of the things that we're lacking. And if majority of the public understood the kind of work that was going on in the labs or in whatever else in some kind of scientific field, if they got it, if they understood it and what it meant for the world, what it meant for them, what it meant for the future, it will change. It will transform their way they see the world, the way they understand the world. I mean, it'll enhance, it will develop obviously the critical skills too, but at the same time, it pushes the boundaries of their imagination. They can say, oh, wow, what if we can do this? What if we can? What if we can? And they start to wonder and think about that stuff. So it's really important that that the science communicators, whatever their background is, they're in a position and they have a platform and they have a following to make a difference in the world, to really add around the world with using the internet, using platforms like Instagram, whatever, social media. Like, they have a way to express that, to change that. It's just so much wonderful, amazing work is being done in the science fields, especially in space as well. And people just don't seem to. There's no and science communicators give that access to that, to bridge that gap for them. And so keep doing what you're doing, and to all you guys here too on the.
Just a quick note, man. You realize you're quite literally doing it right now. You're on like 8 different platforms talking about it.
I'm like an unofficial science communicator, but yeah.
You know what? I sat and watched Cosmos, and I'm saying, what do I do next? And I watched a TV show, and after I watched the TV show, I'm like, okay, this is awesome. What do I do now? And then I watched Neil deGrasse Tyson's other thing, and it was his great course. And I'm like, I don't understand any of this. And it's an entirely different version of Neil. It's him as a teacher, as a professor, and it's really in depth. And I was so confused. But it was what Ann Druin and Steven Soter wrote that he spoke that mattered. And that's, even though he can totally do that, he can also be astrophysicist Neil, like real astrophysicist Neil. He eventually wrote Astrophysics for People in a Hurry, but that also is not anything it's short. I mean, it's a little book, but it's also really in depth. It's succinct. It tells a lot really quickly. And that's kind of the thing, though, is that Ann's talked about it forever. She was Carl Sagan's partner, and she was his co-writer. But both of them were poets with their words and what they told and what they said. And it's the same with Sasha Sagan, their daughter, as a writer too, is that they have the ability to tell it, and you just hear those things. And when you mix it with somebody like you and somebody that's everybody here has those skill sets, that was a filmmaker and a graphic designer, and the people that were creating those things, that changed it. I could see it, and then somebody was saying a beautiful thing about it. Like, that's NASA data showing me what Jupiter looks like. And then from there, they showed you what that storm looked like. That 300-plus-year-old raging storm that was just this massive thing that's tiny on Jupiter, but it's now somewhere between 2 to 3 times the size of our entire planet. And they mentions that. I'm like, what? It's that much bigger than everything I know. Like, that blows my mind. And everybody here has one of those facts. So Karina, yeah, please. That's what I was going to ask.
If you like that type of stuff, Richard Feynman for me was one of the people who really inspired me to be able to translate really complex subjects. And for me, I'm not a scientist, but I love learning about everything that's happening. And he is my favorite. Honestly, I watch his safe lectures for fun because he just has a way of explaining things. And there's a quote from him in
so just real quick before we go to the quote, is it Feynman or is it Feynman? Because Commander Riker calls it USS Feynman in one of the TV shows or one of the movies.
Feynman.
I thought it was Feynman too. And then Jonathan Frakes said Feynman. And I'm like, So I'm just kidding. But go ahead, Karina.
I joke because I had a little bit of a crush on him, so I was like, I guess he's fine, man. But that was it.
No, seriously, that was a lot. He was one of those too. Like, it was him, and there was a few others that just did the same things that were absolutely that.
Yeah, and for me, it was him to want to learn how to properly translate these things and make it in a way that people can actually understand. And luckily, that's kind of what I do in my day-to-day work, where we try to explain to people what the aerospace and defense industry has done and will do. We even worked with around 70 CTOs, chief technology officers, to create a study of what the future would look like, what the next 30 years would look like. And everything was just a lot of data. And we're like, how do we translate it? So we made a video of a day in the life of a young girl. We made a thinner report that actually made a little more sense if you just picked it up and read it. And then we made a mural that comes to life with Instagram or Facebook, because that's the things that people will actually utilize a little bit more often. And luckily, we were able to put it in the Air and Space Museum where more people can see it. And well, not right now, but it was more thinking about cool, this future looks great, but how do we actually get people to get excited about it when all you can see is just number, data, and kind of hard facts. And for me, going back to Feynman, is trying to find a way to make it beautiful, because he talks about how science adds to the beauty of things. It doesn't take away from it. So always trying to find a way to make it into something pretty, make it into something that you love, and something that you can build a passion for. And that's how you really get people interested, and also how you get people to want to fund you, how to want to fund the future. But for me, Feynman, he just did that for me.
Seriously, and so there's something Imran just mentioned here, that he was part of Cosmos, the new one, what he got to do. So, one, are you allowed to say that? Because
I wasn't part of Cosmos, but I worked in the same place as I worked.
Oh, okay.
In the same production. I mean, the same studio as Cosmos.
I've been to those studios there.
I mean, Santa Fe Studios. It's where I've been working for the last year. I mean, I'm here in Santa Fe. So, and so Cosmos, obviously, last season 2 or season 3, however you look at it, it was shot here, and it's amazing. And then to be working with crew as well. When I worked with the crew for the past year, working with the same crew who worked on Cosmos, and it's just fascinating to hear all the stuff that was going on. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson, most on some nights right there, because the studio's in the middle of the desert, middle of nowhere kind of thing, and he would host his star parties for the crew, and right at the end of the day of shooting, whatever, and he would host his star parties just behind the office in the in the desert, and it was so cool, like to do that stuff. And but it's amazing how much of a, and it was just amazing for me. I mean, just randomly, just happened to be I happened to be working in the same studio at the same place where Cosmos was. Just previously, we took over from Cosmos, so we came in and took over from Cosmos, and it's just amazing that how much of a impact, like you were just saying about Neil deGrasse Tyson and Cosmos, this show, and how from to Carl Sagan, and then obviously Sasha Sagan's just released a book recently, and that's amazing. It's pretty good, and it's like, but Carl Sagan and Cosmos changed the landscape of science communication. I think Carl Sagan, if not, is like the original, if not the most, and Richard Feynman is amazing. I love Richard Feynman.
Popular though, like popularizing like the idea of a science communicator was Carl. Carl was the guy.
Carl was the first to.
I'm not saying, but at the same time, you were absolutely correct. I absolutely.
But it was Carl Sagan who made it possible for people to go to and discover people like Richard Feynman. So, and I think Feynman was very specific in his field of what he was talking about. He was very into the whole, the physics of it all. Like he was very, but he also translated it to the point where up to science, to general how we see the world, how we see the universe, kind of thing. Well, Carl Sagan, he was very, Richard Feynman too, but they were like, it was very poetic in the way he talk about stuff. And I think there's more people obviously who are familiar with Carl Sagan than they are about Richard Feynman, and because of what Carl Sagan achieved with his books and his TV show and him and Voyager and all this stuff, like he was able to do that. But I think and I say I think everyone should read some Richard Feynman out there. Richard Feynman was just the way he would just talk about stuff. I mean, you can't put him on the same level as Carl Sagan. I think Carl Sagan created this whole other thing on his own. It's this whole other thing. But Richard Feynman is so important in science communication to actually, especially when it comes to physics, like to actually understand what's going on there. Well, but with Cosmos though, Cosmos was like more universal. It brought all the sciences in there and made it accessible to people out there. And I think the original TV show is obviously amazing, and so many developments, so many things have happened since then. And then Neil deGrasse Tyson making his season 1 and season 2 out of it. It's really amazing.
Imran, if I can, I want to go back to you, but Sky has been working all day, and I just want to give her a quick moment. No, you're fine. Like, I love where you're at, and I want you to go back there, so please hold on to that, because I want to go to you, and then I want to go to Anna, because I want to ask her a question before I go to Travis. But Sky, before you leave, today has been extremely emotional for you. You've went through, you yourself have went through a lot of challenges in the last few years to get where you're at and where you are now. The job that you have, we were talking about bringing you out here, and then the COVID thing happened. So many different things. So to have a full-time job where you're at now, to get to go to school where you want to go to school, you're getting ready to finally graduate. There's a lot there. So if you want to give us just a quick breakdown before you head out for the evening, and then I want to go to Anna and ask her a question, but just of putting it all together.
Of like what the future is, or what?
No, I mean everything that's happened to you in like the last 6 months that's led to this, that you got to be in a place that not a whole lot of people could be. Like you could have been here. Like had there not been COVID, there's a strong possibility you and I could have worked. You would have been my co-host the other day on the show that I did on Space Foundation social media, which would have been killer, and you would have been great on it. But the thing is that COVID kind of changed that and led to something else that's different. And now there's stuff going on with school, and then there's a lot of things that happened that led to today.
Yeah,
things that you might not even be all that happy about, but ended up being
awesome. I long story short, I made the decision when I was 15 that I wanted to be an astronaut. Through this process, the past couple of years, I had 2 medical diagnoses saying that I was completely DQ'd. It was a rough time, only to come to find out that it was both misdiagnosed, never even had it. So it's been an absolute roller coaster ride of emotions. And because of it, it led me to getting a government contract job down in Miami with NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. I was literally 2 steps away from moving down to Miami. My stuff was down there. Everything was down there. And one of my contacts brought me to a military affairs council meeting, and people that I've never met in my life, but the heads of the 45th or in the 920th and all these different places just looked at me and said, you can't leave. Space is you, space is your dream. So the next day I applied to an internship with the company that I'm at now, Space Trek. Ended up getting it. I walk in for my first day and they offered me a full-time position as operations manager. So literally went from 0 to 100 for real quick. And in between that, I was talking to Ron about coming out there and potentially moving to Colorado for a job and everything like that. So it's been an absolute whirlwind. And I called my parents after the launch, and I saw Steve after the launch, and I basically looked at them and said, this was my big slap in the face, essentially, moment that it connected after everything that's happened and everything I said that I want to do that. So I graduate in December and hopefully going in the Navy after that, and hopefully eventually down the road becoming an astronaut. So it's just been a crazy, emotional, crazy day, but it's been everything that's happened. I don't regret it. It happened for a reason. I'm here where I am now, so I'll take it.
And there's so many of us that feel the same way for that. Just who knows where we'd be, and with everything that happened with me as well. I never thought that I would be here, but there was, if school was normal for me, then I wouldn't have become a DJ and wouldn't have done that, and then I wouldn't have also become a butthead. And then I wouldn't, but I still wouldn't have found my voice and wouldn't have done certain things. And now I get to be here and be able to do things just like this. And if I wouldn't have been as down as I was, it wouldn't have hit me with what happened with Cosmos. And that's a lot of that. If you blame, you're going to have to blame the amazing life you have on the bad things and the good things. So I'm glad you were able to be here with us today and talk about it.
Thanks for having me.
Always glad to have you, and glad to have you part of the team. And we appreciate you, and other people do as well. So keep doing what you're doing. I know you got to go grab some sleep. And then we will talk to you next time. And I'm going to bring something up here in a minute for the people here that are part of the art space. And of course, Sky, I know you're going to bounce out here in a minute, but of course you can watch it. You were on that set where they were doing Cosmos, Imran, and we didn't know each other yet whenever I had this conversation with Neil about 2 months ago, where I talked to him about Cosmos, which was pretty big high point for me. It was amazing to have this conversation with him and have a very just fireside chat, which I made fun of the other day. It's like, if we keep having this many fireside chats, we're going to burn this mother down. But during the conversation, I said something about the fact of how important the art was. If I hadn't seen the visuals, it wouldn't have connected with me, because the human mind can't really wrap around, without the science communicators, without the artists, what billions really are, especially countless billions. And none of us really get what a trillion is. Even Jeff Bezos is 1/10 of a trillion. I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah. 1/10 of $1 trillion. Like, what? That's madness when you think about those numbers. And we talked about it in this conversation. So I want to find this. I want to talk about it. But what I want to go to, though, is there is this burgeoning thing where around the world stuff is coming up, and there's voices that are doing really, really incredible things. And Anna gets to do it a lot. And I love Anna's videos with what she does. And so the other day, and I love this, during the live stream that we did for Space Foundation, I got a hold of Anna and said, I think it'd be awesome. It would be awesome if we had someone come on and talk and give like a 10 to 12 minute, breakdown of everything that's going on with what's happening today. And in a sense, it was a bit of a risk, but not really. But I knew it was going to be awesome, right? I'm like, let's try and do as much as we can. And I was like, okay, this is going to kill it, or this is going to, no, it still will be awesome. And we live in a place right now that a lot of people will complain about certain things, and everybody stayed, and the questions were awesome, and things started popping up, and there was a lot. I don't understand Spanish at all, and that's the reason why I had brought Anna to the team to see if she would start doing shows for us and talking about Spanish things. And there were certain things I learned from her that I knew what was popping up comment wise wasn't bad. It was all really positive things, because I've learned enough Spanish from her that I could get by and say, oh, that's not somebody yelling and cussing. That's someone that's really thrilled to hear this. So That's a really incredible thing. Like you're reaching out to a lot of people, and our 80 plus people that were watching dropped by like 3 people. And that was it. But there was all these comments coming in for it. The world is now becoming more and more all the different languages and all the different people, and you're a big part of that. So what's next? When's the first time we're going to hear someone step on the moon and it's going to be in full Spanish? Like, I'm here. Like, and you're probably going to be the newscaster that talks about it.
Hopefully.
Right?
That's the dream. Well, yeah, the thing is that we have to convince people that we need to open up all these topics for many people in the world. And as I've said to you many times, and I'm always saying when I'm trying to convince different stakeholders, media outlets, even NASA, because when I started working with NASA, they did a very small amount of communication in Spanish. They only Hispanics did it voluntarily, but since we started this project, well, when I was at the Mexican Space Agency, and convinced everyone for us to make this Spanish version, official version, weekly version of a small piece of news of what's happening in space. Spanish-speaking people, we are 500 million in the world. So if you do it in English and Spanish, you're reaching something like 80% of the world. So I think it's very important that we are inclusive when we are communicating science, because if we are not, we are missing out. It's the same as any other discrimination. We're missing out in a lot of minds that can create that future that we are wanting to see. And that next Carl Sagan or that next Elon Musk or whoever can be in a small town in El Salvador or Venezuela or I don't know, wherever in the world. So it's very, very important. And there's this other thing that happened to me one day, and that showed me how important it is to be inclusive when we are communicating science. And in one of my shows, we have sign language.
Yes, it's awesome. And I love seeing that more and more throughout, as well, with a lot of the leadership around the country. There's always somebody near them that's doing it. And I love that. And it's actually something I want to talk about too. There's quite a few people that are in there. There's so much. It's multiple languages. It's sign language. It's how do we communicate the best way possible that we can with people with autism, people that are that have Down syndrome. What's the best way to educate and be a part of everyone? We need to bring everyone in. It's all a piece of humanity, and we can only continue to do more and more. And that's what's so important to me with that, is that it's all the faces, it's all the things, it's every single one of us. And I love that you mentioned that.
Yeah, and I mention it because one day, every day I speak about some science topic, a very complicated science topic, and I explain it in 2 or 3 minutes. But the girl that was doing the sign language came to me, and I don't remember exactly what word she was not finding how to translate, but she said to me, there's so many science words that do not have a translation in sign language, just because people that use this language are not easily into science topics. So there's no word, there's no sign for, I don't know, neutron star, or I don't remember which word it was. So this really blew my mind.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this can't be possible. Like, there's no way that there's so many concepts that we're not being able to communicate to different communities. So that's why this ignites my passion for keeping communicating. And every time I talk to someone about space and I really see their life changing, like when you saw Cosmos and your life was changed, I've seen this look in the face of so many people
Yeah.
when I talk to them about the Voyagers or things that they have never heard before. And now they know that we as human beings are able to all these great things, and they are just blown away. So we really need to, and I really appreciate that you include me and include so many people from so many different backgrounds, because that way we can get science to so many different places. So thank you very much, Ron, for all the opportunities, and I hope it's as useful for you as it is for me.
Well, no, I mean, thank you. I mean, it's kind of the point as well, is that we're not talking, it's not like Anna doesn't have things to do. It's not like there's not the morning TV show that she does every day with this huge audience. It's not like she doesn't do stuff for NASA, and not like she's done all these other things. I'm very fortunate whenever I get to talk to people that I say, hey, it's weird for me to say, everything's been pretty much generally out of pocket, and I pay for the staff and everything through out of pocket, and it's awesome because it did lead to something. It's led to a lot of really, really great things that I just can't be happy. If I was any happier, there'd be two of me. So sorry, there's a little bit of emotion behind it too. Is that we get to continually do these things and work with all these amazing people, and so I like to ask other people to say, hey, what else can we do? But there's so many people out there that are doing incredible things and talking to different people and talking to different audiences. And I needed to figure out a way that I could share as much as I can. And what more could I do than say, hey, you have a particular skill set. I don't know engineering. Can you bring that to the table? Do you want to do a series? We've got a really big platform. You can share whatever you want to. We'll tag you any way you want us to. Whatever you want us to share, we're completely fine with. Not us, me. I do make the decisions, but it is a huge team. But it's all about bringing as many people in as we possibly can and connecting with them. But there's every single other person that I know that is really doing incredible things, tries to reach people in different ways. Karina and I are both huge, like comic and video game nerds, and we do a bunch of stuff with that. If her and I sat down and started continuing like we did, like tonight, we're streaming on Twitch and play video games and talked about astronomy, people would probably be like, "This is awesome," because Say again.
Can we play Kerbal?
We can. You can actually teach me Kerbal, and that's and there's some other things coming up that we're working on as well. With SLU and some other stuff that is fantastic. There's a way that we can reach out to many more people, and everyone here gets to do that. Except for Travis, who is quite literally building the path to the future. So, Travis, what do I got to do to convince you to go to Texas so that way I can go down there and talk about the ship? Yeah, you're muted. Hold on, let me unmute you because you're not going and you shouldn't go. You've worked too hard for it.
I mean,
but I know I get why you are.
There's been talks about sending our team to go down to Boca and work on some of the Starship project, and we've sent a couple of the guys down there a little bit. But I personally, I don't necessarily want to go. I've done enough projects where I've gone out into the boondocks. I mean, the first barge, we were just hunkered down in Louisiana, and I've done enough. But we're also focusing in Hawthorne still on the satellite program and all the things that we're secretly doing with all of that too. So, as much as I'd like to go down there and be a reporter for you, I don't think they'd necessarily send me down there unless something major happened.
I didn't say a thing about being like you being the guy. I'm saying if you go down there, I could be like, "What's up, bro? Can I do like the thing?" It's like you guys. I mean, Tim's awesome, and we've got Robinson Mangle, and we've got a bunch of people that are awesome down there. But it's like, can I go? Can I be the new guy? Because I've got like a whole new setup, and it travels, and it's not far away, and she could get there.
I mean,
if you could do some things.
If you wanted to go down there and work, they'd hire you in like 2 seconds. I mean, they're trying to poach people from Hawthorne to go down there.
So tell the story.
You can bring that stuff with you. You're going to have to do a little bit of work. and then you could do your little side project, and then
No, I
wait
just
till
wanna
Elon
go.
tells you to stop and go back to work, and so.
But yeah, man, maybe someday. So we're not too far away from possibly the end of this one. Will Young, who is the Deep Sky dude, I'm gonna go over and do a live stream with him. We're gonna do some fun stuff. It's gonna be more astronomy focused on that one with our friend Steven, who is out at McDonald Observatory. So we get about 20 minutes left. I'm sorry, about 15 minutes left. But I want to share this, and I hope it's at the right time. I just want to be honest. I have not watched this because I was so incredibly nervous when it happened. I only get so far in before I get too emotional for it. But there is a lot of really cool stuff that Neil talks about in this conversation. So I am going to try and find it, and hopefully it's the right one first.
And rose up and got.
Can everyone hear that?
Apparently, you can do in these.
Okay, so I got the right one.
Large productions that have a long tenure on
Google. I had to go for my Google PhD on that one. Like, bam, I'm fast, man. It's my job.
Okay. Yeah, of course, the Hugo Award. So, in 2014, he was one of 3 co-writers on many of the episodes, and
so now we're talking about. Wait,
he was director.
Let's back this up.
Of the series.
Hold on.
In 2020, he's actually a full-up co-writer on every episode. Well, Ann Druyan, you're already a fan of hers on 2020 Cosmos 3, and a director on many of the episodes. Well, Ann Druyan, not connected at all. In fact, you'd rather just
trying to find the right part where he talks about art. We're asking about like Steam and
stuff. I hadn't thought about it that way. So attending, all right. Whereas when Anne has the pen, it's, by the way, scientist herself was hatched in the episodes, and he was directing science fiction storytelling.
I might not even be able to find it right now. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it and find the right part of it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and like back out of that for now. As we finish up. So there's a really great part where we talk about the what's important about having art involved in what we do, and the ability to be science communicators and put this out to certain people. So it's great the way you mentioned it. You said, no one had really asked about that, the fact that art just was so important. Is there anybody here that wasn't affected by art? It was something else. It was just another space thing that just really jumped out at you? By the way, I love like the background. I've never seen a private chat that's been this personal. Like everyone's being super awesome right now, and I don't want to share it, but it means a lot to me because this was just something like, let's do this. And I reached out to a bunch of people I really like a lot, and there's just a bunch of really cool stuff happening. But as we may possibly start to wrap up here, what do you like? What's the big thing for you that you would like to share that might inspire someone? And I'm going to start with you, Imran, and then we'll go around the horn. And if my other friend hasn't started his live stream yet, then we'll continue.
So what's the question? Like, what's inspired?
What's a thing as something you've heard either as a science communicator or a thing that just really, really inspired you to get into what it is we're doing now?
I guess it's more to do with the fact that people are listening. I think listening is the key here, and you can keep doing what you're doing, keep being out there, keep putting yourself out there. If nobody is, if people aren't listening, then obviously it doesn't make any much of an effect. But if it's at least one person that's listening, it changes everything. So that's what's inspiring me about everything right now. It's not just that science communicators and we're, out there talking and expressing and communicating this stuff, but also the various different disciplines that are expressing this kind of thing. So like the artists, for example, there's like, space art and the interchange between, the exchange between science and art, doing all these great, wonderful things out there. And, for the past, before I came here, I was living in New York for like 13 years. And there only so recently, we've had things going on, events and things where science and art combined together. And that's like a huge inspiration for me, where only until recently we're starting to do that. We're starting to have a platform where we're bringing in artists and scientists and we're putting them together. We're having scientists and artists work together to create something, whether it's a short film or some project, some performance art piece or a paint or some painting or something. Just bringing artists and scientists together to create that dialogue between the two is powerful. And that's what's inspiring about even with today's launch and just what's going on with space in general and space exploration is that we're welcoming, bringing in artists to work with, to collaborate with is completely changing the way we proceed. We move. We are create. The only way to create something is the only way to create something of value, something of importance, something that is like test of time that keeps on going for like forever is to collaborate. And scientists and artists are collaborating, and for me that's been like the most inspiring thing, is that having those kinds of people just working together, regardless of your background, regardless where you live, regardless of what your speciality is, what your skill sets are. Just having artists and scientists working together and collaborating is changing the way. It's changing the whole dialogue and the whole narrative of how we move forward, and which is going to have a huge impact on various different things in the future to do with space, including space tourism, to space ethics, to this, to that. It's going to. We cannot have a dialogue without having artists involved, because they are the best communicators out there. You cannot beat the artists. Like, they are the ultimate best communicators out there, and we need the artists. And space, I mean, the world as it is, planet Earth, has inspired so many artists since the beginning of time, and they've written and created so many wonderful things, from poetry to books to this to that. And now, but it goes beyond Earth. It's space. We've got the whole, solar system, the whole galaxy, the whole universe, and we need artists to be able to bring that to people on Earth, to express that. And I think it's amazing how many artists are out there right now who are not just inspired, but creating all these wonderful things, different things of all different kinds of mediums and formats, and it's amazing how much it can reach people out there all over the world. And that's what's been inspiring for me. Having artists, involved in all of this, that we need them. We rely on them actually to not only spread the word, but to bring the universe to them. And you can only go. Less and less people are watching or reading a book or watching a documentary or anything like that, and they are more in line with entertainment and the arts. They're more likely to get it, to process it, if you got the arts involved, if it's like delivered to them in the form of an art. And we need the artists for that. And I think that's like been the most inspiring thing, how it's like opened up all these opportunities for artists to work and collaborate. And I really, like, my message to everybody out there is, if you're an artist or a scientist, like, come together and work together and bring it out, because the world needs to know, the world needs to hear, the world wants to, we want to see that. We are by nature, curious about all these things, but it takes the artist to bring it to us, not the scientist, the artist. And there are there are sometimes scientists out there, science communicators who are also artists, but we really need artists. And that's my message to everybody out there, is that if you're an artist or whatever you do, whatever is your skill or your creative thing that you do, whether it's storytelling to painting to whatever, like science needs you, space needs you. And I hope today's launch has been an inspiration, and to open up all these worlds of imagination and to create all this stuff that will go on to inspire people to generations to come. Art goes on forever. Like just look at the Voyager spacecraft, and we have art on the Voyager spacecraft, just going beyond our solar system, just going there. And that's what
they
is
chose
going to survive us.
Yeah, that's
art
amazing
is what's going to survive us. Yeah, art is what's going to survive us, and art is what is going to express the science to everybody out there too. So we need the artists, and I really hope more and more artists get involved in various different collaborations and projects out there to make this happen, because there's no future without the artists, and we need that.
Agreed. And Karina, I know you got to go. So I was supposed to switch to a different live stream, so I don't have to. So we're just going to keep this going. I'm already inviting some other people. We're going to probably have someone here in a few. But Karina, I know you have to go because it's midnight there. So you want to give us just a quick thing? Just want to give us your final thought before you head out. As always, you have some really great ideas.
I think for me, in general, the industry is inspiring and it's welcoming. It's super welcoming. And one of the biggest things that I've noticed personally is to not be afraid to speak out. I think I accidentally started being more outward facing with my advocacy and with science communication. So don't be afraid to just speak out about what you're passionate about. You never know what's going to happen and you never know who you're going to reach, because I've had messages from young women, young Hispanic women telling me, oh, wow, I didn't really see myself in this industry. And so I think just not being afraid to just put yourself out there. You never know what that will be, and especially what that will be to somebody else. And it's just fun to talk about what you're passionate about. So I think use your inspiration to help inspire others. That's my last word.
I love it. It's always great. You're always wonderful with your words. So, Karina, I know you got to go. Thank you for joining us tonight again. So, if everybody doesn't know, this is always off the cuff. Generally, maybe that's what I should call the show. Is that I just message a bunch of people that are awesome and say, "What are you doing in like 4 hours? Do you want to just get real in depth with some stuff?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure, let's go." And then all of a sudden, it ends up being this like 2-4 hour thing that's amazing. So, Karina, thank you for joining us and always being just thebomb.com.
Well, it was great being here. Thank you guys, and live long and prosper.
Yeah. So Travis, I got to pick your brain a little bit, man. So this has been such a long time coming, and it happened. You know, when I messaged you earlier, I tried to call you. You're like, man, I'm at a watch party. I'm in it, and you don't do that. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But I just want to be like, hey, man, I love you. Congratulations. There's like 8 things that just happened to matter to you. How do you feel about it? Because again, we mentioned this earlier, space isn't really your thing, but this is ultra personal for you, being who you are and what you do. So, you know, now that it's done, one, how do you feel? Do you feel any sort of relaxed at all? Or is it just, now we got to go to the next thing? Demo 2 is on the way. I want to see him get home before I relax.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing. So how are you feeling with all of it, of what's on the way?
I mean, I just in general, I'm exhausted. You know, all the things leading up to this launch today. It's just the countless hours. So it does kind of feel like there's a lot of weight off of our shoulders, for now at least. But you know, to us, the mission isn't done until Bob and Doug get back. So there's a lot of things that we're thinking of. You know, for me, you know, a lot of the technology that we have on the vehicles right now, or how we did it, or how we built it, you know, a lot of that, you know, I either developed or had a heavy hand in. So, you know, for me, the actual weight lift was demo 1. That went off without a hitch. We did everything. Everything was great. That was good. Awesome. You know, this one, for some odd reason, everybody at work decided to stress me out and say like, oh, hey, you know, they're wearing your suit harnesses, so if we can't hear them, it's your fault. And, you know, I was hearing that all week, and it was driving me nuts, absolutely nuts. So, you know, most people were saying like, oh, I got teary-eyed when the launch started, and, oh, you know, we inserted them into orbit, and I started crying. Mine was, you know, they were starting to do the comm checks, and I started crying. I'm like, they work. But really with our group, we don't really have downtime per se. You know, SpaceX likes to split everybody up. We've got Starship going, got satellites going, you know, and all the other weird projects. So for me and what I do, there really is no like general weight lift, because there's always like this huge weight that we're kind of on and under pressure to get stuff out for testing. So, you know, maybe a little bit more once we get Bob and Doug to splash back down and things kind of like, you know, calm down. But I definitely think this launch today, for majority of the company, they're breathing a little bit easier tonight and feeling really good about what they've accomplished and seeing it happen today. I think was good, not just for the world, but a lot of people in the company who have just been, going crazy the past few years trying to make this happen.
Man, I know it's got to be a lot that just, it's still great to see. And what I love was, and here's the thing that I'm really big about is that, Elon's Elon, but Gwen's an entirely different animal to me. And the reason why I say that is because I've met her in person. I've interacted with her, and I see who she is. And I loved watching the live stream because I love what SpaceX does. I talked to you about this, Travis. I'm like, how do I meet the people there? I'm going to talk to them about the stuff. And just like, what are they doing? How can we talk about it? Can we be a part of it? Blah, 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 blah. But I feel Gwen was being completely honest when she said, you know what? For the last so many launches, I haven't been nervous. And like, now I'm nervous. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm worried about it. I know it's going to work, but there's also the part of like what's going to happen next. And I love that. I love her honesty and how real she is. And it was really incredible to watch that. And another thing that I love is that this is a woman that is in the lead of so many things. And it's someone that I know that you respect a whole lot. The way that she treats her employees, the way that she is to everyone. And I'll tell you right now, Travis will be honest with you if there's something he isn't happy about. And I wouldn't bring it up if it wasn't something he's directly told me. And I heard the sincerity in his voice that she's serious about it. This really, really matters to her. And I love hearing that she's in it and she's involved in it. And then we have somebody that's just that impressive, that's really behind everything that's going on. And, and I know there's somebody to the team, and I know that a lot of people all the people that we see on the live stream are, we see them as voices, but they work there. These are people that are in that. And I think that's something that might be a little important to mention, that they're in it just like you are. They might be in a different way than you are, but and we lost him. Oh, that was terrible. Like right in the middle, I'm like, hey, there's this really cool thing I want to ask you. Oh, he's back. He's back.
Sorry about that.
No, man, it's fine. But I think that's something that, in a general way, you don't have to say what it is that they do, but these are not just people doing what I do. These are people that are part of that game and that have just as much skin in the game as you do.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, that's the cool thing about what we do, especially with the live stream. And I think that definitely is helping get more people excited about what we do as far as, aerospace, rockets, satellites, all that stuff. Having those engineers there talking, they have a background in certain aspects. So they're able to explain it more in I always like to say they can explain it so I can understand it, because, I work there, but, all the fancy engineering names that they use is, I just kind of zone out and just say, what do you want me to do? But I think having them there and where they can really just kind of, break things down a little easier because they do have that knowledge in a certain aspect. I think that's what really sets us apart when we're doing stuff. And I think if we just had people who just were the face and who just talked and just read what was on the screen, I don't think you would get that personal level that they have with the vehicle itself. They worked the long hours. They were dealing with techs like me who were annoyed and working late, and so it's a passion project for them too. And I'm glad that SpaceX gives the opportunity to those people to kind of apply to do it, and then have them up there and really just explain it a lot easier to a wider array of people. And I mean, hands down, that probably is one of the more awesome things that SpaceX does to spread the word about what we're doing and why we do it. So
good. So Anna, I think they need a voice that maybe able to share it with other. Do you think that if SpaceX called and said, come be our voice for the Latin speaking community, the Spanish speaking community, would you be down for that? You are muted. Let me unmute you. Oh, you muted yourself, so it's on you.
Sorry. Yeah, no, well, that would be my dream. That's what I dream of every day of my life.
Let's go.
But,
I want to talk about people going to Mars. Let's do this.
yeah, because Spanish-speaking people need to know about this. That's what I believe. That's what I've been trying to convince everyone about. And of course, I'd love to do it. I'd love to do it for NASA, for SpaceX, or for any other company in the industry. And I want them to really understand how important it is for them to communicate with all the audience they can, because you don't know where the talent is coming from. You don't know where the next big idea. And I think SpaceX, as we have heard and learned tonight, is one of the very best companies in doing that, like harvesting talent from places where you wouldn't imagine it would be. So if we keep on just maintaining it very local to the English-speaking communities, we are losing so many talents. So not everyone has access to being able to learn how to speak English. So I think the outreach has to come both ways, because kids and young people, they do a lot of efforts in our countries to really reach out and to catch some opportunities, but you have to reach out for them too. And this is very, very, very important. And well, of course, I'm defending Spanish-speaking people because that's what I come from. But there's many other languages, and also because the Spanish-speaking community is very large around the world. So that's maybe a good place to start if you want to start amplifying your communication. But I think it's very, very, very important, and it also will help us evolve as humanity much quicker, because we are going to grab to concepts easily. And I know there's many science communicators that are doing excellent jobs, but I think companies should also worry about that. And I'm so excited about how NASA has really taken this flag of communicating in Spanish. As I told you, only about 3 years ago, they had no communications in Spanish. They did a little thing one here or there because the Hispanics did it in their spare time, but they didn't have a line of communication. And now they're doing huge things. They have profiles in almost every social media in Spanish, and they hired now a special person to lead them. So I think this is very important if we want to take the whole humanity into space. So yeah, call me.
Nice. Somebody call me. I got down to it.
So I'm gonna kind of interrupt you guys because I'm gonna take off pretty soon. I need to shower and kind of get ready for some sort of kind of sleep tonight. But kind of piggybacking off of that before I go, and I've said this a ton of times to you too, Ron, and everybody's kind of hits on it every single time we have any of these conversations and whatnot, and especially, for me, my whole goal, not being a super aerospace, enthusiast, it's, for me, I think it's really important, not only in a media form, to have broadcasts in different languages, even sign language. I got a cousin who's deaf, and you can read stuff, but a lot of things get lost kind of in translation, and I really feel that if we did have more multilingual broadcasts, that would help what all of us want to do, and that's just to get everybody more excited about space in general, and then to also let people know who are like me, who I don't do school well, I don't like college, I can't sit there and read a book, that becoming a technician isn't a bad thing. We've talked about how Mike Rowe has done that in the past as well. and it's getting not just getting people excited about aerospace and becoming an engineer, but also just excited to maybe want to hands-on build it. I feel like that needs to happen a little bit more, and that will just open up so much new talent that we can get, and who knows what we could do from that, especially when you think of it where, I've only been in the game for 7 years, and look at what I've been able to do with this company, and if we can excite more people to join the industry so we can, get more ideas and have a bigger pool, I definitely think that'll help everybody, and not just in a SpaceX kind of setting. I'm talking about aerospace in general. SpaceX likes to say Rocket Labs, ULA are competitors, Blue Origins especially, but I think right now a lot of people just need to not just so much focus on what company they like the best, but just what the companies are doing in general.
Dude, I like them all. I like every single one of them. I'm excited about all of them.
My backpack, kid you not, I don't know where it is, but they sent out a list. These are our competitors, and they can't come for a tour. And I've got 4 Rocket Lab patches stuck on my bag right now because I love the Kiwis. I mean, they're my brothers. I mean, they're got the Poly Pride right there. So to me, it doesn't matter. You look at what they did, and it's just like, that's pretty amazing. That's pretty cool. Like, oh, by the way, their launch site. Oh yeah, amazing. I want that. So, but that's just what I feel about it. Every space company is doing something pretty awesome. You even look at, I think they released an image from a Chinese-built rocket, and it looks just like ours, landing legs and all. And it's one of those
very Dragon,
right?
That capsule is Dragon. It's a Dragon capsule.
It's us. And even if you look at what Rocket Lab's doing with theirs, their engine layout is the same as ours. And I definitely think that SpaceX is really pushing the limits of new technology and trying to find all the new stuff, the supercooling locks and all that other stuff. But to me, it's also really exciting to see other companies come up, give people like me who don't have that so much, technical book knowledge, a chance to really go and be a part of something bigger than themselves, and then get to see stuff like this. I mean, that's the biggest thing for me. I really love seeing the guys who are on my team get super excited about today. That's better than any award that I've ever gotten at SpaceX. It's seeing the people who, trusted you and went with you and worked their butts off, and then just see them get emotional and excited. That to me is more powerful than any award that you could ever win. And I just want more people to kind of be in that group. You know what I mean? So
well, let's talk about this. Like right before you leave, and I'm not saying you have to say anything to this, is that you're talking about 2 guys that were on the shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about guys that watch people that they love and care about die.
Mm-hmm.
They're worried about safety, and working with you made them feel like you didn't see any fear in them. It was all an amazing thing. That's something to give them that kind of security because of what you did and what you worked with them on, mm-hmm. and what your team did. And I know that's got to be a gift to you, because I know that this matters a lot to you. Even though you're like, well, space isn't all that big a deal to me in that sense, it matters to me. I get to be a part of this on getting people to Mars and doing this big, huge thing and what that means. And I love that. And I know, like I said, man, I know you got to go, and I know you're tired. So I'm glad you're here with us. But let's show this right before you leave, because Liam's here. And Liam, no, Liam, you got to go back to that. Let's talk about what that is, so that way people can see. And let's unmute you.
Liam, let's go back there.
Let's go back. So he's showing a stream of kind of what's going to happen.
Yeah, that is the live stream from. I guess it's still being streamed by SpaceX.
Mm-hmm.
They're going until it gets there.
Yeah, that's right. Showing where it's going. By the way, it's visible over Colorado Springs in like 4 minutes. No, 1 minute. 1 minute. 9:15. Yeah, it's very low in the northwest. But anyway, just. But But before you go, Travis,
Yeah.
if I can just pop in as the real me. This is
I
the real
just
me.
saw what you were
There
doing.
he
I knew
is.
what it was. That was the thing. It's like, hold on a second. I want you to show him. I wanted him to know what that was because he doesn't watch launches. He's busy. I wanted him to say, like, by the way, this is what all of the rest of us watch. Whenever like your work flies, this is what we're all seeing and what we're all paying attention to. I just want you to know that, like, that's how hard we like. What's next? What's
and I have
thing?
something very specific for Travis, right?
Yeah.
Very specific, because when we first met, you mentioned how there was a point where you had to struggle to reinstall, I think, some lighting, some LED lighting into Crew Dragon.
Yeah.
Do I remember that right? Yeah. So you gave that story, and it was such just a matter of fact. This is my job. This is what I have to do. They decided to change something, and now it's a 2-hour job for you to, put the LED lighting back in. So I want to let you know, while I was watching, I'll call it the show, of Crew Dragon in space, and when there was the point where they then did it was like a special just for SpaceX, because it wasn't covered on NASA TV, but SpaceX had this more informal, unscripted connection between the crew on board, a little bit of a tour around the SpaceX Crew Dragon, putting a camera out the window. The lighting that was on there, it was yours. That was just one aspect of it, right? That was
Well, so I didn't put those ones in, but I was in charge of working with the engineers on actually designing how it was going to work per NASA standards. So
you had a part in that.
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people this. I don't normally think what I'm doing is any extra special. The lights included. I was like, well, they're just lights. That was just Wednesday. That was Wednesday. Like the docking adapter, I was there from conception. So it was like, the docking adapter is pretty sweet, but it's like we were in Houston and I hated it. It's 2 days, there were birds everywhere. It was driving me nuts. So there's a lot of stuff to be proud of on that vehicle, but definitely those LEDs. Every time I hear that just brings out it's just like, oh yeah, I remember that. Let's remove a panel without unplugging them and rip them out, because that's fun.
That's right. I just love that tiny little detail. That's just just a job.
Yeah.
And yet this is the result. So
and it's just like it's looking back on what I get to do, and I've told this to you guys a billion times. I don't think it's anything extra special. I'm known as being really fast at building at SpaceX, and it's not. To me, I'm just doing my job. That's just basically what it is. My job is to develop a new project, figure out how to work it, figure out how to build it faster, better, more reliable. So to me, when they go through the list of, oh yeah, I did docking adapter, I did the first demo one routing, I did the pyro, I worked with the docking adapter, lights, I did their flight suits that flew today. It's pretty cool. Don't get me wrong.
A suit, by the way, I'm just asking. I was like, if you could sneak me a suit, that'd be awesome. I'll just wear one. I'll be the space.
Me too. I'll wear
2 years development. I have been developing these things for 2 years as the pseudo RE on it. And, I've had to build these suit harnesses a gazillion times. Bob has broken his a couple, so has Doug. They're the umbilicals that they hook into, those have broken a few times. They're the first 2 flight suits that they wore today, plus their backups, was quite a bit of a headache. But to me, it's just I don't know why, but it's just, to me, I don't like that fame and recognition. I don't want any of that. But a little bit, like I said, a little bit's fun. Just because I mean, the thrill for me is to see everybody else happy. That's basically my goal at SpaceX. How can I get something done faster, so then we can keep proceeding and moving forward and keep being innovative.
So that we can get my ass to Mars.
Oh no, I don't want to go. Trust me, I don't want to
Well, I
go.
think my ass to Mars, mine.
Like,
Yeah.
I was talking with somebody the other day, and they were like, "Well, would you go on one of these vehicles?" And I was like, "Well, you know, are we talking would I go to Mars, or would I go to the moon, or would I just get on one?" You know, and I always kept joking, I'm going to sneak on to demo 2 because they're going to somehow break their lights. I'm going to have to.
They're going to need you.
But you know, I got to ask that question, like, would you go? And I don't think I would, only because, and maybe I would go on a starship. Let's just say that. But for a Dragon, I wouldn't go because, you know, if nature calls, you know, and your diaper's full and you have to use the restroom, I don't want to have to float up, you know, drop drawers right above everybody who's sitting below. You know, it's not
There
like
is
they
no
don't know
up
what
and
you're
down
doing.
in space, remember?
Yeah,
Isn't
you
that
know,
going
but
to
you know, I just don't want to, you know. To
Best
me,
conversation.
It's all
that's probably the
stuff.
weirdest thing.
Space.
Everybody else is like, I'm claustrophobic, or I couldn't do that, and I would panic, or I'm a smoker, how am I going to smoke? And mine is, I just don't want to poop in space in front of everybody, you know. And even when they're like
that,
they were
Hold
like,
it for 19 hours.
you know,
19 hours.
and then one of them was like, well, would you go to the space station if you could go? And I was like, no, because I saw a documentary on the space station, and they said, well, when somebody's going to the bathroom, you can hear it throughout the whole space station. I was just like, you know what? No, we're not going to do that. We're not gonna do that. I'll stay here. I'll build the ship so you guys can go.
Travis, here's the thing. Your poop turns into shooting stars.
I mean, that's
For
all great.
real. It gets piled into, you know, a resupply vehicle, a Progress, in a Russian vehicle, and it burns up in the atmosphere, and your poop turns to shooting stars.
I mean,
so, you know, that
I mean, well, maybe
is that
is it
not
shooting
worth
stars,
it?
or is it you know what I mean?
I mean, you know, as exciting as it all sounds,
Oh, no,
you know,
all right.
But I always joke.
Travis,
I always
Travis,
joke
you
that
should design
like that,
design
like
a new suit. Design
I
a new
don't know.
suit.
I mean, my DNA is already turned into some sort of like, you know, comet or whatever you want to call it, because there have been plenty of times on previous missions, especially Flight 6 when we did the first fairing. We were building, and we used different things to close out connectors, and you cut yourself all the time. So, you know, I always say, oh, my blood's made it to space about a half a dozen times and burnt up in the atmosphere. So, you know, technically I've been there, you know.
Your DNA's been there.
So my DNA's been in space, and I'm like, all right, I'm good with that. You know,
that's a little,
you know, somewhere in the ether, maybe my DNA just kind of got out and is floating around in space. And I was like, you know, we're good with that. And you know, if I'm still working for SpaceX and we're doing that kind of stuff, if I said, hey, I want to go to Mars with them, they're going to tell me no, because they won't even let me go to Florida anymore because they think I'm going to stay there, you know, or they're like, yeah, you can go to Boca, but only for a week, and then you have to come back. You know, we need you here, which you know, it's pretty awesome to think that I'm needed here. But you know, and that's kind of a good thing.
You are needed, sir. You're the man.
I don't have to worry about going up to Mars anytime soon. I can just sit here and, you know, build my rockets and not get, you know, not have to worry about if I have to hold it for 19 hours. You know what I mean? So
that's, but let's talk about that though. Is that it's super funny that somebody that's a major, like, has major hands in this, that's making all this happen, has no desire to. And everyone else here is just like, I could have the skill set that they would send me to Mars to help with things. I could fix the spacesuit. I would be on Starship. I could do all this and not pay $250,000 to $1 million to go and have all my stuff. It would be a work trip for you. And that is pretty awesome to me. But you're just like, man, you know what? I'm kind of done with it, because who knows? There are no work laws there. You could work 27 hours a day.
They don't like me doing that. I got talked to about going down to Boca, and I was like, this was before we had SpaceX Village or whatever, and I told them I'd go, but I just don't. I'm so used to living on my own, you know. That's and again, this is why my internet connection sucks. I just moved in here I think I moved into this house about almost 3 years ago, and I'm just now moving in. just now. Just getting internet up and running because I've been at work for so long.
Yeah.
But I told him I'd go down to Boca and build harnesses, and since I don't want to go sleep in an Airstream with anybody else, I'll just set up my tent and in my sleeping bag right next to the desk I have to work at, and just wake up, work, go back to sleep. And they told me, no, don't do that, because then Elon's going to be like, that's what I want, and then everybody has to do it, And everybody already is annoyed that I work 12 to 14 hours a day religiously. It's just like, well, stop, you're making us look bad. And I was like, well,
you want to get done, yeah.
For me, it's just fun to build, but then again, going back to that, I'm not necessarily in the same mindset as somebody else of like I'm building a spaceship, I'm building a suit harness that's going to fly. To me, it's just fun to tinker and build and get challenged that way. So for me, I'm challenged 12 to 14 hours a day with cool projects that make me have to solder, tear things apart, figure out why they don't work, and then SpaceX gets to reap the rewards of somebody who just is a workaholic and doesn't like to go home.
Yeah, but no, man, it's amazing you do what you do, and I want to keep you on here too much longer. Okay, so somebody said that's what I heard. The hours at SpaceX are numerous, but it's a choice if you want to.
So when I first started,
it's not forced, right?
No. So when I first started, it was 10 hours. That was a normal 8 anywhere else. SpaceX was 10-hour shifts. Avionics at that time had 2 shifts, and I started off on the second shift. So it was get in around 3:30 in the afternoon, leave around 2 a.m. That was the norm. After Flight 6, and we really started bumping it when we started having to do the 40 cores and we weren't landing yet, there were a few times that we were doing 10s. There was a month that I only had 2 Sundays off because you had to work weekends as well. So the hours were pretty crazy. It wasn't until we started really landing like we are now that we started having less hours. A lot of the production areas went down to like 8 hours. Right now they have us on a little bit of a break at 8 to 10 hours, just to kind of breathe. But our team more so though, our hours fluctuate quite a bit. So from a production standpoint, yes, the hours were really bad at 10 hours. I guess 10 hours isn't too bad, but it was 10 hours were mandatory, with the hints of like weekend work and stuff like that still going on today. But with my group, for what we touch, 10 hours, us going down to 8s, a lot of us are going to start struggling to try to get things done and have to work faster. So, but in the R&D group that I'm in, and life cycle engineering, we get to basically pick our own time. So me working 12 or 14 hours is by my own personal choice, not being forced by SpaceX to do it. And because of the projects we're on, they're completely fine with it. But things have definitely slowed down a little bit in the production areas, and that primarily is due to the fact that we don't have to pump out.
Travis, did you get to watch this when it happened earlier, the launch?
Oh yeah.
By the way, can we just have a moment of silence again just for that one? Hold on.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
That's you, man. You did that.
Goes the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA. Go SpaceX. Godspeed, Bob and Doug.
Godspeed, Bob and Doug.
America has launched.
Oh, I didn't even realize that they were saying all that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you watched it there where everyone was screaming, I'm sure, because that was a team thing, right?
Yeah, I can put the audio up again.
Yeah, put the audio back up. The audio is amazing, dude. Like, the whole world was screaming for it.
T plus 30 seconds into this historic
It's
mission.
Parker.
Flying crew on board Dragon and Falcon 9, and look at them go.
Falcon power telemetry nominal. M1D throttle down.
We're throttling down to get ready for the period of maximum dynamic pressure.
We go.
We're in the throttle bucket.
These launches in person, they're so amazing.
They are. Wait.
The sound.
So you wait. You've actually seen a launch in person? I thought you'd never seen one before.
No, I've seen them in person. I haven't been. So the time.
Oh, I mean, I guess you've seen the LA ones, right? Like that's a good point.
I've never driven up to Vandy, but you can see the trail from the house, my house, and then or SpaceX's roof, and then I've seen a couple of SpaceX launches, but I've normally been back at the hotel. While everybody else is, we're gonna go to the Causeway, we're gonna watch it. I'm gonna go get tie, and then I'm gonna go back to the hotel. I'll watch it from there. I'll hear it.
Travis, we love you.
Just keep saying that. It's like I'm just gonna trail off right now.
I will.
No
tell
one's
you,
paying attention.
I definitely will tell you though. Like I don't actively go seeking to go watch the launches, but there have been times where I was in McGregor doing some work on the Super Dracos, the Super Draco stand itself, or when we brought back Paddleboard, we went right back over to McGregor, and I've done some work out there too. Before they built the new test stand, where we used to have the rocket up on that tripod
down the Merlin engines
and
on the first stage.
we were only about maybe I don't know exactly how far it was, but we're close enough in Texas to go to see the T-Teb ignite, see the green flame, and then get hit by that wave as all 9 engines fire up. So this, by the way, what you're showing right now, I hate this part. I hate the
this
second
is super
stage.
funny. Oh, you hate second stage? Or
I hate the second
terrifying?
stage because when we started bringing them back, we were like, "What's all this green stuff all over the harnessing when it comes back?" And it's the pressure from the MVEC turning on and firing was melting some of the insulation off of cables, and we had to troubleshoot that, and that's.
But then you also had to keep it that same color because everybody expected it.
Right.
All right, so now let's make a firework. This was a terrifying thing. Now we have to keep it continuing to look like that. Wait. No, but you've seen that inside. I mean, now it's a big thing that it's all over social media that you can go and you can do exactly what you see on the screen because it's technology. By the way, let's just look at Imran's face. Look at how stoked he is right now. He's smiling his face off. Not in a bad way, but no, I mean, he's stoked about it. We all are. And you're just and Travis is like, whatever. My face actually isn't like pixelated. That's just how I feel about it.
Can I just
Travis
say something?
needs
Travis, you are part of like history right now. I mean, today, like you contributed towards what happened today, and it's amazing that you're. You should be more proud. Like it's amazing. You are. I mean, you played such an important role in today's launch. Like you really did, and it's crazy because you're talking about 10 hours a day. Working and all that stuff. Like I know from the entertainment industry, 10 hours a day is just an average day. It's like a normal day for us, and 12 hours is like average, normal people do. But we do it for a paycheck. Like we work from TV shows to films. We don't get to choose. We just do it for a paycheck. It could be a crappy show. It could be a crappy film. We don't know. We just do it for a paycheck. But if you're going to do 10 hours a day for something, if you're going to work 10 hours a day for something, you want to work for something that matters, that means something. And you do that every single day. And it goes unnoticed. Like all of us here notice that, like everything like it goes into.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, we know it because we care about it. Yeah.
We do, and it means a lot. It means a lot to us. It really does. And thank you, and thank you for being here to talk about it because people need to hear more about this stuff. Like what goes on.
Right.
Well, they're not really allowed to.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly for
we lost that live view, but
just for how I am
landing shortly here.
Just in general with what I do. There is a sense of pride. There's a a lot of excitement. I mean, I get excited when something that we do, actually works out. But to me, I get more joy out of seeing the people around me or people like you guys who get excited just from what we did. That's why I don't like the recognition. I don't like the.
So real quick, Travis, I just want to do something real fast because Anna's got to go because it's getting. I did that actually, Liam, just because I wanted to be clear what Travis was saying. I will bring you right back in. Just real fast, Anna's got to go because she's been here all night and she's been amazing. So we really appreciate you joining and being incredible and being a wonderful person. So you want to say goodbye to everyone before you leave, and then I want to introduce BB Sharkbait real quick, and then we're going to go back to exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I had a great time. I'm so pleased to meet you and share all this passion with you. And I hope we can stay in touch. And I hope I convinced you to go further with outreach, do both things, because to reach the stars, we need every sort of resource we can get. And we don't know we can get those resources. So please keep on doing what you're doing. And thank you so much for having me. Have a great night and see you soon.
We love you, Ana Cristina Vera. I love she
you.
taught me how to say her name correctly, and that's what's so important. So right before we go back to the man, the myth, the legend, just want to go because Sharkbait's here. Anna, we will see you soon. Face, what are you doing? Today sucked, right? Let's unmute you.
Today was amazing, and I kind of have a history of crying at rocket launches, and for some reason I did not cry this time. I think I was too excited to cry. I literally wanted to cry.
You cry all the time. It's fine. I cry all the time too.
Right,
I want to do a live stream about light. There's a light on in my room, and I'm going to cry, and everyone else is going to cry with me. You're very good about bringing down emotion in people. It's great.
Yep, that's what I do. Yeah, and I mean, okay, so it's super cool that we actually have.
Wait. Wait, 1 second. Liam, is this where they say what the name of the craft is?
Oh yeah, it could be. Yeah.
So glad to be with you this evening.
Hold on, wait.
And
Sorry, man. 1 second.
Welcome you on board Dragon. Got a couple things we want to talk about first before we kind of show you around. The first is kind of a tradition we've had over the years with spacecraft going way back to the Mercury era. And then a tradition that's been carried on ever since with all our space vehicles, including the Soyuz. We're given the honor to name this capsule. I know most of you at SpaceX especially know it as Capsule 206, but I think...
Wait. Let's pause that. Can you pause that, Liam? Travis, is that what you knew the spacecraft as? 206.
We call it 206. That's
what they said. Just want to check to make sure.
Demo 2.
Yeah. All right, fair enough.
We didn't actually have a name per se. We just name them. The text would know it as what it was, either Demo 1, IFA, Demo 2, CRS, whatever. But the engineers go by what number it is. So we had 204, 205, 206.
Sorry, so that's 206. They did name
Shuttle Endeavour. And it just meant so much to us to carry on that name. That's what we decided to go with. So we hope you enjoy that name. And once again, welcome on board.
Yes, that was awesome. And I love the fact that we got to
Good evening, everybody, and welcome aboard Endeavour, the SpaceX vehicle headed to the...
Yeah, I've dropped the.
No, you're awesome.
Audio.
I know you know.
Okay.
I know you know. You know what's at the battle. You're the man, and that's why I appreciate it. You're able to put that. So now he's doing a count up until the next one happens. So let's go back to Bailey real quick. Bailey, how are you doing? How's life? How's things?
Life is good, actually. I actually have some really exciting news, and I'm just gonna not announce it. Never mind, Ron. Well, I'll talk to you later about it. But life's good. I think some there. And
no! You don't get to come on my live stream and vague book me when I'm the one who taught you how to vague book. I'm just kidding. No, seriously. Do not say something you're not allowed to say. You know I'm kidding. Yeah. No, you're happy about it. I'm happy for you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, okay, so I kind of just joined in last minute to this. This is freaking amazing to have the guys worked on the actual suits to know kind of the insider scoop? I mean, everyone knows
The one guy, only
Sorry.
one guy.
The
Yeah.
guy.
I just want to be clear that he is like, we have one person here. No one gets guys. No one gets like, unless you're like Space Symposium. At the end, on the biggest day, do you get 2 people from SpaceX doing something? Seriously, really seriously. So we're very fortunate. But
That's my point. Like the fact that we have someone that from the inside, you know what I mean? It is gonna be. I'm so excited to listen and just hear what is going on. I will shut up and let you guys talk about cool space stuff right now because
no. Seriously, we want to invite you in. Like, I mean, Travis has been talking about a bunch of stuff, but here's the thing that's a big thing for me is that I like to. It's for Travis. It's not really a thing because of like he loves what he does. He works hard on it, but I get to tell him all the time how what he's doing matters, and it's great to hear that other people are involved and they're excited about it. So I try to get up his butt about this, not like that, but I mean to get him excited about the fact that like we all love what he does, and the work that he does. So yeah, just start out there because we're going to space.
By the way, that cabin mic that they're talking through, that was a pain in the
Dude,
butt.
and it sounds so cool too. It really does.
I mean, everybody's just like, oh, how long is it going to be? Will it pass qual? Like, let's make like 9 of them so we have life of it. Oh, but when space, it's going to curl up and it's going to hide in this cubby, and what's going to happen? And we can't use this. It was just like, just plug it in. Just plug it in. Let's go. That's all I care about. Just plug it in. Can they talk? Yeah, say Apple. Yeah, they said Apple. Okay, we're good. You know,
Apple.
Right,
it
it's right
was
there
a
on
lot.
my
It was a
feed.
lot of this. It was a lot of this every day with these suits. It's like, oh, the right ear's not working. It's just like, talk to the mic. Just something. I'm going home.
Talk to the mic. Wait. I love the fact.
Oh, we gotta sew it in the
brought
suit.
back.
It's just like whatever
Talk
you
to
want
the
to do.
mic.
Just go ahead.
Talk
Just
to
do
the
it.
mic is now
Press
talk to the
button.
hand.
We're done. Okay, good.
So what we need now is I want to take next time I go to LA, I'm going to grab Travis and I'm going to have him do this. And we're going to do, instead of talk to the hand, it's talk to the mic. And we're going to make t-shirts. It's what we're going to do. And it's going to be highly scientifical.
Oh, it better be.
Scientifical. You have to unmute yourself, babe.
So scientifical is I'm kind of defining it as when you're so excited about cool science stuff that you don't even know what's going on. That's basically what scientifical means. You just
I gave you a website and I gave you the graphic. You're like, I don't know what I want to do. I'm like, all you have to do is publish this. And here we are. I'm still yelling at you.
I know.
I'm just going to publish it. I'm just going to put it on mine, and then you will get possibly a percentage, and you'll get more if you sign them. Just saying. I'm just saying. I keep trying to inspire you, Beeps, but you. Just
I have commitment issues. I get scared to do things like that.
Everyone's shocked. No, but seriously though, I mean, you want to ask? Wait, what is that? What is? Oh. I don't know what that is, but it's vaguely sexual.
You want me to tell you what it is?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was when we really needed to have Travis turn the frickin' lights off inside the Crew Dragon while they were holding up a camera to the outside window.
No, I got no say in that. That's NASA.
Yeah, I know. There you go. Anyway, that's NASA.
You know what? So
Right.
so
we
little
needed
fun,
a kill switch for the lights, and then
little
we could clean
fun
outside.
little thingy here. The little dinosaur thing that they've been floating around. I don't know if you guys caught it or not, but after we kind of did Miko, and we separated from or not Miko, but we did second engine cutoff, and we shot the Dragon off. It was seatbelted in, and Bob had somehow wiggled it loose and was trying to grab it, and it floated away. And so the whole time we were laughing because he was playing with the seat, and I don't think he realized because of how the suit is and how their chairs are designed. I don't think he could see that it floated away and kind of went aside of him. So that was probably the only thing that I took from that whole launch and was laughing about was the fact that thing started floating away and they couldn't find it.
It's a freaking thing.
Look at these dudes. Look at them. They're so happy to be there.
Of course they
Oh,
are.
yeah.
Look at them. They're
Faces.
10 years younger because of this.
Those are people who are just so happy to be there and grateful for everything that made it possible. Yeah.
All right. So Travis, I have a question for you. I have a guy that's watching right now, and he's awesome. His name's Brian. And Brian's going to go to patreon.com/stardom and give $50 a month if he can get the secret private patch that you have.
Which one?
Can you? Brian, I'm looking at you right now, man. I'm looking at your message.
We have many. I don't think we have many secret patches.
No, patches. Yeah. So, Brian, you tell me how many secret patches you want, and I'll make a new $100 level if you're just going to keep like throwing money at it. We'll do $500. We'll get you 18 new patches, and you will pay for my entire staff. Bailey's not ever going to get paid because it's Bailey. But because who paid for it, Bailey?
Raytheon. Raytheon paid for it.
Boom.
Nice.
Totally SpaceX. Okay, Raytheon had no involvement.
I mean, we do. I mean, we get some pretty cool patches. I mean, I honestly, to be completely honest with you, this is how disconnected I am from each launch, just in general, Ron. I didn't even know which patch was ours.
I know you don't, because we talked about it. And and none of them were actually on the astronauts, by the way. There's not one. Yeah, no, they're there. There's like a name on it, but there's no patch on the astronaut. And Tim Gagnon was not happy about it.
Right.
And that's why he created. No, seriously. Like Tim, the patch guy's like, there's not an actual patch. Mm-hmm. They have a name on their suit. Mm-hmm. There is a patch, but the patch isn't on them and it didn't fly.
Yeah, so
Bailey's like, what?
Shake my head.
So on their actual suits, there is no the badge isn't on it. You only have the two the US flag and the SpaceX swoosh. And then their name on it. Their blue jumpsuits that they walked around and had I believe it was the NASA version. Like I said, I don't even know what the patch looks like. One of them has a helmet with the clover, so I'm assuming that's ours. And then Bob and Doug had another one on their jumpsuits.
Yeah,
and
this is one.
Like I legit, I kid you not, was looking up like what is the official SpaceX patch for Demo 2. I had no freaking clue.
I think it's a Spaceman one. The Spaceman one, because
I think it's the one
was wearing it. He was wearing it.
It's a starman. Wait, hold on. If anybody can sing in British, it's going to be Imran. Imran, can you do the? It's a starman waiting in the sky. Can you do that for us, just real quick? Hit it.
Oh, well, he didn't.
3, 2, 1, sing.
The starman.
No, with Duncan. I'm judging you. I am Simon Cowell, and I say sing. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
I'm totally kidding.
I can't sing.
Like I said,
I can't sing either. It's fine.
But that just shows you how. Like I said,
what was that, Bailey?
You're gonna make him leave. You've bullied him.
I have not. He knows I'm kidding.
Exactly.
He is fully aware I'm playing.
Yeah. See, so that patch that's on Liam's screen, that one, I had actually on my Instagram had taken a picture of it. And I said, for all the hard work and all the pain of building their suit harnesses, I want the least they could do is get one of those patches and then both sign it. And I would be happy. And I would forget about the 2 years of the nonsense and the days and weeks of, hey, they broke this. We got to fix it. We're having checkouts tomorrow.
Love it.
I can bring up the SpaceX patch. Just to give me a sec.
The official patch.
Let's all stare at Bailey's face.
The official.
Bailey, why are you texting?
Anyway.
You should be a part of the live stream.
There we go.
She's doing Rubik's Cube.
There's no way she finishes that.
It's on. Okay.
Just take the stickers off. That's what I do.
Bailey, let's be honest.
I'm listening.
No, I'm just kidding.
All right. I'll be there in a sec. Here we go.
Let's all just stare at the corner real quickly. Just
that is.
Let's just all look at Bailey. Everybody look at Bailey right now.
It?
I feel awkward when people touch me. Okay.
Hello, Bailey. My name is Babe. I just want to let you know that you will fail.
I saw this one floating around too. There's like three. There's like 3 of them that have been floating around. And like I said, I
you don't know what the official one is. Like people have been watching all kinds of things. Because I wasn't
Yeah.
sure. Because I saw all these different patches. I was like, which one? What's the right one? I don't see it on the
Yeah.
spacesuit.
I've got
So what is the right patch?
I have the patches from our past missions. They used to give it out to us right after the launch, and it'd have your number on it or your employee number at the time. You can see how far down numbers you go. And then they started doing a mass one where they just kind of put like 5 or 6 of them in this envelope and hand it to you. I still have like the last 2 sets they gave us, and I haven't opened them. There's other people like, oh my God, I put it and I hung it up on my wall, and it's, for me, it's just like, heck, I don't even remember. People are like, have you even opened the?
You just haven't got around to it yet with your schedule.
It's for me, it's just because of what I do. I get so just tunnel vision on what we're doing. There are times where I've missed out on some cool T-shirts that they hand out to the staff because I was either stuck in a vehicle or just running around busy. So
it's so sad.
I mean,
it's so sad.
I mean, everybody else.
We need to make that right.
I mean, I think I get more of a kick out of. I'll share one more story before I leave.
Sounds so much sadder when you're British. Like, he's so sad. Like, I'm on the ISS with cameras and I don't know what to say.
That's far more
Listen to how sad he is. I don't know. Look at me.
See, and most people think that's sad, and to me, it's just like I'll share the story, and then I'm going to go because definitely the day of ugly crying when they were talking through their mics again for the first time and all that stuff. I need to wash this off. But what I get a kick out about doing what I do, and the thing that I get a kick out of was one of the major one was, besides the whole Bob and Doug locking me in the capsule on accident, was working on the first docking adapter, or the second one that we were going to go to NASA in Houston to test. And I was doing my thing, it was a Wednesday, not a care in the world. And then I got done, and there was an older gentleman sitting there. He's one of the NASA guys. And he said, hey, you do really good work and really fast. And I was just like, well, yeah, I got to hook these cables up. And he's like, yeah, back in my day, the women did it because they had small hands. And I kind of lifted my hands up and I told him to F off, and everybody started laughing. But that's what I'd rather that happen than give me a T-shirt. It's that banter. Same thing with NASA when we're dealing with the pyro lines. They wanted to make sure that we built it right, and standing outside looking at Dragon with them, they're like, oh yeah, this is Travis. He's the one who routed that harness, and that's the pyro line. They're like, it's kinked, and I'm like, it's not kinked. You're just looking at it squiggly. It's straight. They're like, no, it's kinked. I'm like, well, no, you're shaking your head back and forth. It's going to look squiggly. Just look straight at it, and it's fine. And then they were like, yeah, okay. So it's that kind of witty banter that we got to do with like the NASA guys, or, dealing with the team members that I have, where it's, that's what excites me about what I do. And those are the fun moments for me. Most people, it's the launch and their name up in lights saying, I built this, I built that, I did this. Mine is,
but you did.
Travis, show us your SpaceX sign.
What you did.
Show us
your just real quick.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
We got 8 minutes left. I'm gonna have to wrap things up, man, because things have been crazy, and I gotta go do some stuff here in a little bit. But so, Travis, real fast, in 1 minute, give us your thoughts on everything about today. And I don't care if you don't care at all. Just tell us what you think. Seriously, be honest about it. As being the guy, everyone here, kind of idolizes you, but it's a sobering moment when the person that's behind it isn't that blown away by it.
I honestly think that this was an exciting time for just everybody. I think somebody mentioned it earlier with the whole coronavirus going on. We needed something cool to happen, and fortunately, that was us launching the first 2 American astronauts from American soil in the past 7 years. To see that excitement, see the aftermath of that, and seeing everybody talk about it and hashtagging everything in Launch America, that was freaking phenomenal.
Dude, 4 to 8 million people watched you today.
Yeah, but to me, that's what it is, and it's it's just amazing to see that
Bailey
with all the-
Burns tweeted you.
It's just like with all the crazy nonsense that's gone on in this country and globally, you know, this is an event that touched so many people, not just in America, but globally. And it's certainly really humbling to be fortunate enough to work with a company that had that much of an impact globally. And hopefully that excites people and gets everybody, you know, to keep being excited and to keep looking forward because good things are going to happen. It just takes time, and I would have just been just as happy as if it was Boeing instead of us. You know, you know, it's when things like this happen and you see what it does to just the spirit of people. That's what I think today was about. Was just that you know, that reassures the people that even though things feel like they're going nowhere and the world's closed, that we're still moving
Everything's
forward.
crazy, yeah.
You know, that's what it is.
All right, Liam, you're next,
something to
man.
that? Yeah.
Now's your minute, man. I'm starting right now.
Now's my minute.
Go.
So I'm really just going to go on the back of what Travis was saying.
Real quick. Go right now. Start right now.
I am. Let me talk. All right.
I love you, Liam. You're awesome.
So no,
because I knew Liam would laugh about it.
So there's this point where there's this amazing thing going on, and Travis mentioned it. There's this other thing which isn't amazing going on, to do with the unrest in our country, to do with the pandemic. And there was a conversation on the watch party that I was on, where someone put forward the idea it would actually maybe be better if it was scrubbed, so that the launch would happen on a day where, you know, this stuff isn't happening, particularly the rioting, the unrest around the country. Sure. But, you know, this is the authentic thing that came up. We had Livingston L. Holder Jr., who is a USAF astronaut in the Manned Spaceflight Engineer program, who never flew. But, do you want me to carry on?
Of course I want you to carry on.
Yeah, no, it's right. So he put out there saying, no, we've got to hold the two truths in the same space at the same time. That is the paradox of it. We're a country that creates this incredible feat of human endeavor. And at the same time, we have these issues in our society that are causing so much suffering for people of color, for people of different socioeconomic capabilities and circumstances. And I thought that was a really great thing to just put out there, that you can't just sort of pretend that it's not happening and just wish that it would go to another day. So that was what I got from our launch watch party. I don't know what that means to everyone else, but that's what I got.
No, that's the whole point, is just giving your individual ideas. And Ron, I'm going to go to you next, man. Hit us up before we wrap up with Bailey.
No, I think it's yeah. I got, like, you know, to reiterate what Liam was saying, that, you know, that with everything going on in the world and everything, it's just you know, with the launch, I hope has resonated with a lot of people out there with everything going on, you know, right now, especially with the riots and I've seen all this kind of weird, like, this conflict on social media and online about, you know, about the launch happening, and then conflict with what's happening with the riots and everything, and saying that, you know, I don't care about this or that, whatever, the science or this or that, whatever, you know, this is happening. And then there's been other things going on too, where other people have been putting in the dialogue of saying that, you know, it's important that we need this right now to unite us, to give us hope. And I think it is hard for people to, I mean, it was already hard enough with the virus happening, and I think it's going to just go harder with the riots in addition to the virus. And you know, the virus has been negative, the riots have been negative, but the launch has been positive, and the launch is what does unite all of us, and it has, and I think it's, you know, it's important for us to listen, to take that into account, and to acknowledge that, and to appreciate the scope of it all, because it goes beyond the riots, it goes beyond the virus. It's what's going to take us to the future, and it's not just about the present, it's also about the future. And I think it's really important for people to appreciate what's happened today with this historical launch and take it and bring and make it part of their daily lives, like make it part of their lives, because it is what gives us hope for a better tomorrow. Like, what's the point of going on? What's the point of living if there's no tomorrow? What happened today gives us hope for a better tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not, and it's important to hold on to that. It's important to appreciate that, but to also just make it part of your life, like everyday life. It's like one thing to take it into account of what goes on in space and the cosmic perspective and the overview effect and all that stuff. That is important too. But what happened today is not just historical in the field of space exploration, but it's also historical.
All right, Bailey, if he doesn't finish, then you're going to have like 10 seconds. So,
well, Bailey should take it. Bailey should take it.
Especially if Bailey tells us what the big news is, even though we know she
Bailey can
can't.
say it so much better than I can. Bailey can say
no,
it
man,
so much better than I can.
I'm totally playing. I am not in any way, shape, or form actually rushed. I just like playing around with my friends at the end of this. So that way we can smile, man. We got a lot going on. And I'm trying to like be goofy about it. Like no one's forcing us off at like right at 10 o'clock. I'm just trying to be funny and just make everybody smile. Everybody's voice here is awesome. Bailey is probably not going to say anything that really blows your mind. She never goes on an hour live stream and makes everyone cry, including me. She's never done that ever. So no, Bailey, no pressure.
Okay, here we go. First,
no, I know you'll kill it.
Ha!
Wow, you did it.
What's that?
Second, I really want to echo what everyone is saying about everything going on. This was a great reminder of what we're fighting for. I think I am a recent space nerd, and I think basically kind of how I've thought about it is that space for me represents what I've said is the pinnacle of humanity. We are putting our best foot forward. This is the best we have to offer. We have the opportunity to make space the wonderful place we wish Earth was. And having all of this negativity right now and all this hurt and all this pain, it's been really hard on me, but I know having this space going on at the same time has reminded me what we're fighting for and the future that we are fighting for. And kind of along those lines, the last thing I really want to say is that I think I might be the youngest one on here by like at least maybe 2-3 years. I don't want to guess anyone's age here.
Like 20.
But
no, I mean, I'm not actually sure. Like,
maybe
Travis, how old are you?
37.
So you're younger than me. So you're how much? 14 years?
14 years. Okay, whatever. Close enough. But
right?
I mean, what I have to do is remind you guys that when the shuttle era was going on, I was still worried about hormones and puppy binders and all those things. I hadn't even taken calc yet when the last shuttle had taken off. So this, for me personally, and I think a lot of the younger viewers out there, is literally our future. This is our time to really take hold of what's going on. To it was our stepping stone, our doorway of like, this is happening. This is now our future, and we're gonna take it with stride. And we promise not to let you guys down. We'll carry the torch for you.
You ain't carrying anything, man. I want to do exactly what I want to do. Like, I love how she's 23 and she's like, I'm going to go carry a torch. Like, I'm 38. Like, you think I'm done? Look at my face. There's not a wrinkle. I'm on it. There's not a gray hair. I'm going with you, Bailey. No,
she can come take my. She can come do that, and I can go take a break. She can take my spot.
I always goof off with Bailey, but I noticed her, and a few other people noticed her right before Space Symposium last year, and she's just been like kicking a whole lot of butt, and that's one of the reasons I'm like that's part of the team. And last year during Space Symposium, there was a lot going on, and it was a lot of pressure on me and a lot of things I was dealing with. And we had this really, really cool moment that it was the first person I told, other than the person that told. I mean, somebody told me, and then I turned and was like, so my grandmother just died. And Bailey was like, it's okay, man. And was just super cool about it. Like, just knew that there was so much going on in my head. And she was just like, you've been awesome all week. Is it? I mean, well, at least that's what I got from her. And
I'd known you for 4 days. I didn't know what to say to you.
Yeah.
No, and I was like, my heart went out for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bailey was the highlight, by the way, of that event when it was on social media. Like, Bailey took it over.
Well, no, and it was super funny.
Like, Bailey
All kinds of weird. Hold on.
Echoes.
It's a strange echo. I wonder what it is. It's
I
Travis.
think the aliens are here.
It's Travis. Yeah, I'm muted, Travis. So Bailey and I, no, it's fine. Like, he just gets weird stuff all the time. So Bailey and I are just sitting there and we're talking about it, and I'm like, I just want to go outside for a minute. And on our way outside, we walk by Bob Cabana, and she's like, "That's Bob Cabana." And I'm like, "I know, and he's awesome. You should go talk to him, and I'll take the video of it, so that way you can ask him about the thin blue line, what you want to know about." And I took the video, and I did that, and I was just like, my grandmother would be so stoked about that's what happened afterwards. And like then we all went to DC together, and there's been a lot of stuff, and she's been at all the events that I've done since I started working at Space Foundation, started working for Explore Mars. There was a lot of different things, and it's been really fun to watch her journey the last year. And it all makes sense, and everybody here makes sense with everyone. And I'm so glad that we get to talk about it tonight, because everybody here is special to me and in a different way. And I was glad to have all of you involved with this. We're going to wrap this up so that way everybody can go and get some possible sleep. I'm going to go work on some stuff, and we're probably going to have some cool things come up. I know everybody's shocked. Ron's not going to sleep. He's going to go work on something.
And I'm going to go and watch a visible pass of the space station, maybe the Crew Dragon.
We'll take a video of it and send it to me.
9:45. Yeah, I'll do it. It's very low in my horizon, but
I mean, if you can, take a video, send it my way.
Yeah, and I'm just going to leave you with this on my screen.
Well, man, here's the thing. Let's say that's what, like, okay, so we all love that. Liam shows us that all the time on Eyes Above. But that's what they're seeing. That's how cool this is. That we don't get to see this through, something that's in orbit's eyes. We get to see this as this is the two astronauts from America that get to see that view, and SpaceX is sharing it, and we all got to share that together. So I love you all. You're all amazing. As it goes out, what a perfect way to go, and what a perfect way to say goodnight. We love you. Good night, and carry on.
God bless everyone.
Sagan bless everyone, because Sagan bless. Sagan bless.